Jay Thomas Show. Sirius 108 and XM 139. This is the Jay Thomas Show. The interesting, the odd, and the bizarre people behind the, interesting. The odd and bizarre stories. Jay gets in it, stirs it up, and spits it out. He's a professional. It's all here on the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover, Julie, Madison, Kevin Meaney, Garrett and Christina, and Ira the Weatherman. This is the Jay Thomas Show.
Put him on. Let's do it right now. Hey, everybody, the Jay Thomas Show, and we were supposed to talk to him in a few minutes, but we'll do it now. Kevin Bacon is, I guess, doing the rest. Hey, Kevin, Jay Thomas here. How are you? Can you hear me?
Hey, Jay, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. We've never met, but I certainly have admired you from afar. You know.
Thank you.
Jay might be the first person that is beyond 6 degrees.
That's
Who
right.
knows?
I don't, and that's my friend Rodney. I don't know a fucking person that you know or ever worked with.
That's not possible.
It is. No, I'm not kidding you. I played that game once, and I don't know. I'm going to throw some names out before we talk about your charity and stuff. Do you know Ted Danson?
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a movie with Richard Dreyfuss?
Richard Dreyfuss.
What's that?
Have you ever been in a film with Richard Dreyfuss?
I never did a film with Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one of those, I can tell you that one of those microphones is breaking up.
yeah, his is breaking
Rodney's.
up. Rodney's is.
Yeah, Rodney's work is breaking up.
Yeah, but that's the way it works here. It's satellite. It has to go all the way to outer space and come.
Yeah, I'm in Russia.
Now, what am I? I mean, for the 6 degrees, I would have to have worked with somebody that you worked with, or I just have to know somebody you know.
No, I think it's supposed to, well, in theory, it's supposed to be having done a movie with someone that I did a movie with. But I can tell you that those rules have kind of gone out the window because people come up to me on the subway all the time like, hey, Kev, 1 degree, yeah, right. You know, so I don't think it's really, I don't think we need to get too technical about it anymore.
By the way, Kevin Bacon is here, 6degrees.org and refresheverything.org. And we have stuff we certainly...
Refresheverything.com, actually.
.com? Okay. Refresheverything.com. Why don't we do the shameless plug first?
Okay. Sounds good.
Is that good for you? Yeah.
Well, you know, I launched 6degrees.org a few years ago, and it was a place where I kind of took the idea of the game and decided to have a place where people could go if they were affected by something in their family or they read about something in the paper that they wanted to, you know, help out with. We would be a portal and kind of make it easy for them to donate to millions and millions of charities. And I heard about this project that Pepsi was doing called the Pepsi Refresh Project, and it's kind of a cool idea. Over the next year, they're going to give away $20 million in grants to people that come up with ideas to do something positive either for the world or for their communities. And you go on refresheverything.com, you submit your idea, and then regular people vote on them. And every month, someone gets a grant up to $250,000. So they asked me to kick it off with Demi Moore, and we have a little contest going for 2 of our ideas. Where if you go to the Refresh Everything website, you can find a link to their MySpace page and vote for either me or Demi. So it's
now, how do I get there? How do we? I mean, not me, but I mean, how do I get my hands on some of the $20 million?
If you come up with an idea, literally, it could be an idea that you think is going to need $5,000, or an idea that you think is going to need $250,000. You know, it could be something like there's a parking lot in your neighborhood that is abandoned or a torn down building, and you want to put a playground or a public garden in it, and you need some money to do it. Or it could be, you know, I think I've come up with a car that runs on dog shit or something. You know, you could submit
you know what?
that idea.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I had that in just at the tip of my tongue.
Did you? Well, I think you submit it. I think it's a great idea. People will vote on it, and you'll be able to get the money for the grant if yours is chosen.
So if I put my an idea out there, and you and Demi Moore are part of this refresheverything.com, or go to 6degrees.org and they'll tell you about it. And so you put the idea out, then average people vote on it. But what would stop me from getting, I don't know what, 1,000 people to vote on my idea so I could win? You know.
Well, first off, I think that is possible, but I think there's going to be thousands. I think you got to figure that everybody who's doing it is also, going to be sort of doing the same thing, calling their friends.
All right. Could I just click 10,000 times on my own idea? Could I just?
No, you can't. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. There are thousands and thousands of ideas up there, and thousands of people are voting. If you go to the refresheverything.com site, it's even if you don't have ideas, what's kind of cool, ideas of your own, what's cool about it is you can just read some of these things that people are coming up with, and it's pretty impressive.
Now, I was raised by selfish people. Nobody ever talked about charity in my house or anything, and so I'm not the most charitable person. What is it? And you're all, I know you and your brother were singing, and I saw you guys and everything, and you were supposed to come by. I think I was gone then and all. What makes you, is it because in the end, acting is kind of just a gig, it gets a little boring, and between the great jobs that you do, you need to give back, or you've been so damn lucky? What makes you, you're always being so charitable. What is that?
Well, first off, I can't speak for everybody. I'm
just talking about you. Just talking about you. Just you.
I get to a point in my life. Actors, we are very self-involved people. Let's face it. We think about ourselves all the time, and I think that we kind of come by it honestly. I like to say we don't have a toolbox in the shed because we walk around with a toolbox all the time. We are the toolbox. We have.
Do you look in the mirror at yourself a lot?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, actors look at themselves in the mirror. We think. We listen to our voices. We think about what we wear. We have to sort of be that way. But there comes a point in your life where you kind of have to step outside of that a little bit, or at least I did. And I think for me it was having my son, which was like 21 years ago, and I started thinking, well, there's a big world out there that I'm going to lead to him. So I think I need to figure out some kind of a way to try to help out or give back a little bit. And also for me, I have to say that I feel so grateful, certainly for all the good stuff that I have, and I live way beyond my wildest dreams when I was a kid growing up in Philly. But I also feel so lucky to have a job that I go to work every day, and I really, really do enjoy this job that I do. Even on the worst day, on the longest day, the coldest night, I don't know, whatever it happens to be, uncomfortable kind of situation that you're having to be in. I like this job, and I'm so happy to have it. And so I don't know. It's just something like this makes me think it's kind of like a no-brainer, And
were your parents these dope-smoking, long-haired hippie liberals?
Say that again?
I say, were your parents these dope-smoking, long-haired hippie liberal types? A lot of my friends, their families were the mom and dad. They lived in a commune and all. I kind of lived in a selfish home, so I'm not the greatest charity guy. I wonder about it. Yeah.
My parents were not. They were quite a bit older than me, so they were kind of like pre the drug generation. So they didn't smoke dope, but they definitely were liberal.
Right. Hey, now listen. Go to 6degrees.org, refresheverything.com. Kevin Bacon is here now. One of the movies that I just saw it again recently, and it's a scary movie, but they say it may have been true. The movie Sleepers that you did. And I don't know if it says it's based on a real story, but if you haven't watched it, you need to rent this and see this or Netflix it or whatever. And you guys basically tortured and sodomized these guys in a youth prison or whatever. And then later on, one becomes an attorney. And was that a true story? Or is that just rumor?
It was based on a true story. The book was by Lorenzo Carcaterra, and it was nonfiction. I played a really bad guy.
Yeah, you know, that's another thing. That, you know, as an actor, when you play a really evil guy, I mean, you had to, like, basically, you butt fuck guys and beat them up and everything else. What is that? What is that like when you shoot that scene?
You know, it's a dark place to have to go, but honestly, I became an actor so that I could put on as many different kinds of hats as possible. I really didn't do it so that every time I was going to be, you know, kicking the bad guy's ass and saving the girl. To me, that's not what acting is. To me, it's about doing characters, and I consider myself a character actor. And so, you know, Barry Levinson called me up. I had worked with him in a picture called Diner years ago, and he said, you know, so I got this book, and I'm going to do a movie of it, and he said, read the book. We don't have a script yet, but there's this guy that I'm, you know, kind of interested in you playing, and I'm reading the book, and it's like, you know, all these like really super kind of handsome, dynamic, you know, smart, kind of cool guys, and it's, you know, ends up being Brad Pitt and Jason Patrick, and you know, and I get to Noakes, and I go, oh, okay, great, so this is my guy, you know.
Yeah, you were like the butt fucker. I mean, it really is when you watch, you know. Of course, even though I'm, you know, on some fringe of the business, I absolutely believe everything that I see, and I don't look at it as a guy in the business. And when I see, I go, God damn, how'd they do that? How'd they? You know, how are they so vicious? And it looks like it hurts. Of course, I'm sure it doesn't, and nothing really happens to people. But yeah, when you go home at night, you're like fucked up after doing stuff like that. It's like Jesus.
You know, yeah. I mean, I think that look. I mean, to a certain extent, I think I'm pretty good at leaving my work at the office. But if you're playing a really dark character and you're doing some really super dark material, yeah, it does tend to permeate your life a little bit. But I also have to say there's nothing that, if it's a good part, there's nothing that I'm afraid of doing, you know.
Well, the Woodsman, when you played the pedophile, the Woodsman.
Yeah, you know, that part came along, and, you know, people.
Why would you take that? You have kids? You have kids and everything? Why would you take that?
Kids.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. It's like you have kids, and that was an important story that had to be told, you know. I mean, plus the other thing is that what I do with my work is a lot different than what I do as a father.
Well,
I don't. My acting and whoever I am, you know, on TV or even, you know, even like in interviews or whatever, it's like that's not who I am as a father.
You mean right now you're not this guy right now?
This guy that I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah, right now. Who are you now?
I think I'm some version of it, but
okay.
But it's its own kind of performance. You know that. I mean,
sure.
I when you're on the air, I mean,
yeah, that's right.
There's a different guy that goes home every day.
That's right.
It's not the exact same guy that's on the air.
I'm more evil when I go home. I'm actually nicer.
More evil.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon is here, refresheverything.com. It's like a trust fund of $20 million, and you put up your ideas, or you look at other people's ideas, and you vote on them, and actually somebody will actually get the money. And Demi Moore is in on it also. Now, there's a documentary out there about Animal House, and I know Tim Matheson, but I've never worked with him. Okay, so we don't have the 6 degrees. See,
okay.
This documentary said that you guys were like kept apart. The two fraternities were kept apart. And it's two guys said it in this documentary. I don't know if you were in it or not. Is that true? I mean, when I hear stuff like that, I always think it's bullshit.
I don't think that we were like literally kept apart, but I don't think that we were really encouraged to hang out together. And I think that the guys who were in the Animal House, you know, sort of got into their bonding thing to the exclusion of the rest of us.
So you never got to do any blow. You never got to do blow with John Belushi.
No, I never did.
God.
They got they were having parties and we weren't invited. And I think that there's certain elements of that it happens maybe a little bit more when you're younger, but I definitely think that there's certain elements of that happen in films. You know, people kind of come together sometimes based on whatever happens to be going on screen. Not always, but sometimes.
Well, I'm never invited to anything because I think people think I'm going to say something awful or stupid or whatever. So I say that I talk to my wife about it all the time. No one ever invites me to anything after I work with them. And so I'm used to that. So when I read that, I thought, that's bullshit. That really doesn't happen. But it seemed like they did it so that the characters would really be, and that's such a silly movie. You wouldn't think it would be done, like with Sleepers. I wouldn't have hung with the guys that I had to butt fuck in the prison. You know what I'm saying? That would have been,
I can tell you though that those were young kids, and I felt like I had a responsibility to actually be nice to them and for them to feel that Jesus. I wasn't the guy and that I wasn't this scary prick, because then it was possible for them to kind of trust me, and we could go into the scenes with a little bit more enthusiasm, I think. Okay. So I don't think that necessarily follows. And look, I mean, the truth is that you can suggest things, but you can't keep people from going to each other's rooms at night. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, I knew those guys and spent time with them, and John had a couple of kind of brunches at his house, John Belushi, but he was actually interestingly enough hardly there to party, and the reason was that for a lot of the time we were shooting the film, he was still doing Saturday Night Live. And so he would shoot, we were shooting in Oregon, which is a long-ass trip to New York, and he would shoot on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then get on a plane, fly back to New York, and do Thursday, Friday, Saturday on SNL, and then come back out on Sunday and shoot again. So he had a really, really brutal schedule.
That sounds like a lot of blow right there.
There was not a lot of...
No, for him, that sounds like a lot of blow.
I didn't go to any parties with
that schedule would have, Kevin Bacon is making sure that we know that refresheverything.com is available to you. You can vote on it, everything else. Now, I know you may not want to talk about this, but the phones have lit up here at Sirius XM, and everybody wants to know, the fucking Bernie Madoff thing. And I've lost money investing and everything else, but they've made it into this big deal. Did you know this guy personally?
I don't think
Kevin?
I want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk? Okay, all right. Because I want to say that in my life as an investor, I've lost too, but they always, make it out to be, with this guy, it's bigger and worse and everything else. And I was just wondering if in life sometimes you invest and shit happens.
Shit does happen.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So that's that. Still there, Kev?
I'm here.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I brought that up if it pissed you off. I wasn't told not to, so I didn't,
No.
All right. All right. Boy, I took this fucking thing down, didn't I? Kev, let's recover now, and then we'll...
No, I'm here.
All right. Well, gee, Kev, now come on. I asked one little tiny question. Come on.
Do you have another question for me?
No. I feel badly now. I feel badly.
No, don't feel badly. Don't feel badly.
You want to ask me? I got my ass kicked too. You can ask me a couple of things.
Well,
no. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I thought you'd say, well, it happened, whatever the fuck, blah blah blah, whatever. But I didn't know it was going to cause like a big rift, like a huge.
It's not.
Now it's 90 degrees of separation between us. All right.
So, Kevin, what is the technician about?
Rodney's mic is working.
Seriously.
Technician is a action picture that I'm attached to. We're not.
Is it actually happening
right now? I'm actually
just...
on my way to Thailand on Monday to start another picture with a guy named Jaimin Hansu, which is another action film with a Thai.
Oh, is that Super?
No, this one's called Elephant White.
Elephant White, yeah.
Yeah, you must be on IMDb.
Well, I'm always keeping up on everything, and so I always think it's cool if our audience can hear what's coming up with our guests. And what's Elephant White about?
It's about John Hansen plays a guy who comes into Thailand, and he's hunting down these members of this gang who are in the business of abducting girls and putting them into human trafficking. And it's kind of a kick-ass action film, and the director is a Thai director who should be kind of interesting because he doesn't speak any English.
So you'll have to constantly have an interpreter constantly.
There is an interpreter, yeah. There'll be an interpreter. So that's going to be a first for me.
Well,
or maybe on the plane over, you could get that Berlitz thing and learn.
Yeah,
learn Thai.
Learn a little Thai. I should. You're right.
Yeah.
No, but if you want to give him shit, if you want to say to him, "I'm not going to do it that way" or whatever, like you could argue with anybody on a set, you'll have to say it to an interpreter, who then says it to the director.
Yeah, who then says he loves your ideas. He's willing.
Right,
to
he'll say it, but try it his way once.
I'll tell you, what I keep telling myself is that it's an adventure, and I've had a lot of adventures in my life when it comes to work, a lot of really wild kind of situations, and this one will be right in there with it.
Kevin, you must be just out of your mind happy with the success of your wife's TV series, which is really terrific. And is that a lot of hours for her? Is that too many hours for her? And what's your feeling about that? Because everybody loves that show.
I am absolutely thrilled for her, and it's been great. She's going into her 6th year.
I know, isn't that unbelievable? I mean, 6 years.
Yeah.
And so long in television.
My fucking wife just hangs around the house all day, Kevin. Doesn't do a fucking, not a fucking thing, not a fucking.
She's in her 9th year, by the way.
Yeah, she's in her 9th year of just hanging around the house,
There's something to be said for that, too.
There is. She took a little jewelry course recently, and she makes a necklace every now and again for her girlfriends.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
They've done something terrific over there at that cable network in pushing females as the all and everything leads in these shows, and it's turned out to be an unbelievable success.
It's been great for them. Well, they have that they got a guy show this year too, so they're branching out a little.
Oh, so they're going to screw it up. They had a good thing going.
Yeah.
Now they're going to. Yeah, I just wonder why some other network, regular network, doesn't say, gee, maybe we can have women as leads, but.
Oh, they have. I mean, there's quite a few. I mean, there's Julia.
Yeah, but
Martin.
then they always go to Cougar Town or something that has something to do with sex.
Right.
It always seems like it's always geared toward some sort of.
I happen to like that show.
Misogynistic.
Apparently, no one's talking to me anymore. Apparently, no one's talking to me.
Well, Jay, you just kind of screwed this interview, and I had to come in and say something. I'm
completely left out now. Completely fucking left out.
Screw the interview, guys. Thanks a lot. I got to jump. Thanks for the plug for the.
Kevin, thank you. Go to refresheverything.com or 6degrees.org. Kevin Bacon, thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
I got 2 words to say.
What is it?
Caroline Kennedy. Jay, how long have we known each other?
20 years.
Okay, now you're going to answer my question. So just,
what is it?
You're going to answer my question, so you just sit there. And you talk when spoken to.
All right, go ahead.
How long have we known each other?
20 years.
Yeah, and we've been working together about that long, too. Right?
Easily. Maybe more. 22 years.
Why on earth? Why on this God's... what is wrong with you, I guess is my big question.
I'm a probing interviewer.
Probing?
I'm probing. I'm a prober.
The guy doesn't want to talk about Bernie Madoff. He says, no, I'd rather not talk about that. And we go to dead air.
I have to tell you, can I be honest?
No, you can't. You got to answer the rest of my question.
All right.
You are famous.
Jay. I didn't know what he was going to say.
Hold on a second.
I didn't know what he was going to say.
Could you hold on just a second?
Sure. Go ahead.
You are famous.
Right.
For the guy who never has a millisecond of dead air.
Never.
And yet you, knowing my mic was screwed up and I could not say a word.
Right.
You sat in silence.
Silence.
As Kevin Bacon, one of the most prolific and great actors of our generation, sat there probably feeling like a dope. Why would you do that?
Well, he's a great dramatic actor, and I considered that one of the best dramatic pauses I've ever had. You know, when I pause so people can sit in there for a second.
God,
I thought maybe
that was painful, dude.
I thought maybe he would say
that was the most uncomfortable moment I've had since.
It shouldn't have been.
Oh boy.
What?
Oh,
I had to take my headphones off like 3 times.
I did too.
To try to get away from the situation.
I went and got a beer. I was so fucked up from your behavior.
Hold on a minute. All right, hold on a minute. Fran of Connecticut, you've heard do you listen to this show quite often? Not lying to. Do you listen to this show quite often, Fran of Connecticut?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
That was so uncomfortable. I thought I was acquiring signal. I kept looking at my radio. I thought, what's this? It ain't coming through?
You know what? I feel badly that I said it, but
why didn't you move on? Are you so...
I did.
No, you didn't.
I told him I lost money, too.
You did not move on. You know what it was, Jay?
What? What was it?
It's actually my fault. You are so dependent on me on the moving on thing, and I wasn't there for you. No, you can't be honest for some reason.
He's a very nice guy, and I've certainly heard him interview.
This guy's got a million stories to tell. He's worked with everybody but you, and that'll continue. And you don't even ask. You got to talk about Bernie Madoff? Who gives a fuck? He lost some money. A lot of people did. Moving on.
I asked the wrong question, that's all.
Yeah, but that's okay.
You sure did.
Hey, can we go to Brian of Little Rock?
Yeah, Brian. Thank you, Fran. Brian,
if you had 3 words to say to Jay right now, what would they be?
Fucked it up. Hey, listen, here's the deal. By the way, a big fan of the show, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I should have. I fucked up here.
Yeah, you did. And the thing is, I really don't agree with Rodney on anything. Matter of fact, not a big Rodney fan. No offense, Rodney.
That's fine.
It's okay.
But man, 110% in agreement with him. You totally fucked it up, and I can't even understand how you don't even recognize how you fucked it up. I'm sitting at my desk.
I asked him a fucking question about
that's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem was that dramatic pause.
The problem was afterwards, Jay.
That was what the problem was. I'm sitting at my fucking desk. I thought my computer crashed because I listened to it over the internet. And I look at the computer and I go, "Oh my god!" The perception of the normal guy out there, and he's pretty normal, except he's got a huge cock. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, wait, okay, you know what? I saw everything that everybody wanted me to ask. I'm getting emails on Facebook. They're going, ask him about the huge cock.
He's got a huge cock.
All right, all that stuff. So, now what? Brian, you're not a fan of Rodney's, and Rodney, you're probably not a fan of Brian. But
No, I'm a fan of Brian.
I'm going to ask you a question.
I'm a fan of Brian.
I'm going to ask you a question. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, Brian.
Yes, sir.
What should I have done after don't say anything yet, Rodney, I'll let you say. I said, hey, I asked him all the questions. I thought that we talked about acting long enough.
Okay.
And he's a nice guy and everything else. And I said, hey, the Bernie Madoff thing.
Okay, let's reenact it. I'll ask you the question. You're,
I'll play Kevin Bacon.
You're Kevin Bacon.
Go ahead.
So, Kevin, I hear you lost a lot of money with Bernie Madoff. You lost a lot of money with him, right? How do you feel about that?
I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I shouldn't have asked that question. I apologize. There's a lot of poor souls that got caught up with that fucker. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about your huge dick. Let's talk about your huge dick.
Could you hang up on Brian before he gets my job?
No, but you know what? You know what's terrible? I mean, I guess I'm a different guy, but
Brian, I can tell you what it is.
Any question.
Brian,
by the way, Brian,
I can tell you exactly why.
Now, he wouldn't have laughed at that. He wouldn't have laughed if I'd have said huge dick.
You said you were going to let me have my say, Jay.
All right, go ahead.
Brian, I can tell you exactly why Jay did what he did.
Yes, sir.
Why?
He is so jealous of Kevin Bacon's film career.
Oh, absolutely.
That he had to find a hole that he could go through in the nerve of the tooth, much like in Marathon Man, and he had to stick that pick in that hole time after time.
Raging fucking jealousy.
He had to ruin that interview.
Wow.
Had to.
You want to know what really
Jay had
pisses
no
me
choice.
off? You want to know what really pisses me off, and it's the truth.
Yeah.
The fact that not only does he do well, but his wife is a multimillionaire because of that show.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good when I said my wife hasn't done a fucking thing.
That was funny. That was fucking
in 9
funny.
years, and I thought it would loosen him up or whatever.
Well, wait a minute. I brought up his wife. I had to get in there and get the subject
Yeah,
changed.
he really, Rodney started hosting the show there.
Hey,
That was
Rodney,
lame.
by the way, what a pussified interview you were conducting.
Oh, it was
Hey,
pussified.
Oh, my God, how fucking boring was
But
what you
what
were
was he
saying.
left with? He was left with all that dead air. That dead
Oh my
air after
God.
that question.
Yeah, I was in a fucking lifeboat with no air.
Yeah. It'd be horrible.
All right, we'll continue talking to you. I am going to take a break, and we'll not have
Go
dead
take
air.
a giant crap because you got
No,
it.
you want to hear something? I'm in
Oh, wait a minute. You
fabulous
just
mood.
took one. Sorry.
No, I'm in a great mood. The weather's beautiful here.
You're in a great mood now? After all that, you're in a great mood?
Sure,
Yes.
because he got his Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon
he
thing.
let him
No,
have it.
that's
You let him
not
have it.
true.
Hey,
Let him have it.
mission accomplished.
Can I tell you something? I
Touchdown.
skipped.
Touchdown.
I skipped to work today. I was in a good mood, and I'm not going to let anybody
Now
ruin
that
it.
I
Although-
actually
He's
that
gonna
I
be
believe.
cartwheeling home now. He's going to do a
Hey,
cartwheel.
Brian, if you'd have been my producer, I guess you'd have held up that sign and go, ask him about his huge cock.
I was drawing a picture of a huge dick. Just put
All
it
right.
up there.
Rodney Lee Conover is here. Brian, we'll use your name the rest of the day in a sentence, okay? Because you're our listener of the day.
And it
Oh,
has to
wow,
be from
great.
Little Rock.
From Brian of Little Rock, 888-4-102-102. We'll be back. This is the Bacon Brothers. Kevin and his brother.
His brother doesn't like you right now.
No, his brother doesn't want me either. Hold on a minute. Need to relax.
You're still in bed, it's time to go. You bump your head, you stub your toe. The landlord says the rent's 2 weeks behind.
Saw these guys at the Viper Room once.
How was that?
Get your train,
Kind of like your interview with him.
you walk downtown.
Let's go to Bill of Pittsburgh, 888-4-102-102. Rodney Lee Conover is with us today on the Jay Thomas Show. Yes, Bill of Pittsburgh, how are you? Bill.
He's doing a Kevin Bacon impersonation
Bill,
of the Jay Thomas
Bill
Show.
of Pittsburgh. Bill,
Now that's funny, Bill. Good one.
how much money did you lose, Bill? Really?
Yeah, I'm here, man. It's cool. No,
I'm sorry, man.
I'm here.
Hey, all right, don't start calling and doing the dead air thing, okay? Not funny.
I'm here.
Okay.
It's cool.
Joel, Florida. Yes, Joel, how are you? Joel of Florida. Line 1. Go right up to the top. Leave Bill alone. Get rid of Bill. It's dead air. I can't
No.
stand that.
I'm here. It's good.
Bill?
Hey,
Yes. Is Bill there?
Joel. This is Joel.
this is Joel.
I'm waiting for, we're going to keep Bill on hold. Yes, Joel.
What part
Go
of
ahead,
Florida, Joel?
Okay, Jay, I think you knew exactly what you were doing. I thought it was great radio. You know
Really?
how to think on your feet, and you
Yes.
had dead air on purpose. At least that's the way it came across to me. I thought it was hilarious. I thought you were right on top of your game.
Well,
Jesus.
Joel, you may be one of the most astute listeners I've ever had, because obviously I'm in total control from the moment I come on the air until the moment.
Of course.
And I'll tell you something, Rodney. Years ago, we did have some people on, and I would get very nervous when they came on.
Like
And
who?
this-
Give me a name, man. Caroline
Well,
Kennedy?
everybody makes fun of Caroline Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
She had a book of poetry that her dad used to
Dad,
read to
right.
her. And I opened the interview up with, gee, not many people like poetry or something like that. It was a terrible beginning. And it got worse from there. And it was really a bad interview. And there have been probably a couple of others. But when we had Gene Hackman on, the great Academy Award actor, I was told point blank, do not ask him about acting. He wants to talk about his Civil War book about the prison.
And then every question happened to have the title of one of his movies in the question.
That's exactly.
But out of context.
Out of context. We did that. And he talked a little bit about it.
That was a classic.
Then I asked him if he was a fist fighter, right? Or if he was really a tough guy. And he told this incredible story about just a few years ago. The man's almost 80 years old. And apparently at 75 had a fist fight with a couple of guys and a woman in a road rage thing. Okay. I didn't know what Kevin Bacon was going to say. No one said, don't ask about Bernie Madoff, okay?
Except
and
Kevin.
he sounded like a nice fella, and we're having a nice conversation, and all that actor stuff gets boring after a few minutes. I mean, and then I said, you had a terrible thing happen to you.
And he
so
said,
I don't want to talk about it.
okay, now what is...
And then he could have said after that...
What word in that sentence, what preposition, what verb... What part of that sentence is did you not understand?
I
Because
just
they're
thought he needed to be
clearly
prodded. I figured he just needed
Prodded?
another prod.
some of that J. Thomas prodding.
You know what I was thinking? If you don't
What?
succeed at first, try again. That's what I was thinking.
No, I think it was more like try,
Joel,
30 seconds of dead air, try.
Somewhere-
45 seconds of dead air. Me and Garrett crapping our pants, try
Joel,
again.
Somewhere in between me being really good at radio and scared to death is the truth. Okay?
Well, I thought you did a great job, Jay. Great job.
All right.
Thanks,
you very
Joel.
much.
I'll bet not in a million years do we get another call like that, though. Brian from Kentucky, what do you think?
Yes. Hello, Brian. Jay
Absolute
Thomas.
genius.
What's that?
Absolute genius, Jay.
Oh,
There you go.
Jesus.
There you go.
Don't
First of all,
encourage
fuck
this guy,
Kevin
Brian.
Bacon. Fuck Kevin Bacon. What's his problem anyway?
No, he's a good guy.
Question?
No, he's a good guy. He's a good
Can't
guy.
answer the question?
He's a good guy.
You ask a simple question, he can't answer the question.
You know,
That's right.
the truth is, Brian and everybody, he must have lost a bundle, man.
He lost the
He must have really took it in the A.
Just
You
like
know
in
what I'm
that
saying?
movie Sleep.
Jay,
Well,
I
he
thought
talked
you
about
answered
butt
exactly the
fucking.
right way.
He talked about butt fucking and
Yeah, but not him getting,
Yeah, but I thought, well, I got to tell you something. Every now and again, tough questions have to be asked by certain interviewers, and we watch enough interviews on television. I was mentioning this earlier to you, Rodney, about CNN. You got Wolf Blitzer up there, who is a waste of time. He looks like a frog with a beard, and they're talking about the health care or whatever. And I'm in the gym with a bunch of other people. We're all looking up at the screen, and everybody under their breath is going, who gives a fuck that they're meeting and it's all bullshit? At every one of the announcers, there's a woman named Dana Bash, and they put the camera on her on CNN so
What
close.
does she look like?
She looks like a bug, some sort of a bug. Like she has a head like an ant in those Discovery Channel films. And you want one of them to go,
Something just
What?
came over the wires.
What?
Something just came over the wires.
What is it?
The Bacon Brothers have a new song out. It's called Don't Ask Me About Bernie.
But you want somebody on TV every now
Thank
and
you,
again to
Ken.
go, does the American public care about this? And it's really stupid, and it's an exercise in futility or something other than pretending that whatever's happened. And you see Larry King interview people and the whole deal, and nobody gets asked any tough. They're not even tough questions. They're what everybody is thinking. So I asked the question. Maybe you didn't know he lost money with Bernie Madoff. But if you're a public figure, I don't know why you can't be asked a question, and that's why I asked it. And that's the honest answer. And if you wanted to ask me about, what people say all kind of horrible shit to me all the time. Why didn't your career do better? Why weren't you in more movies? Why did your TV career? Why are you doing this shit, that shit? I answer it. So I'm not apologizing to him. I mean, it's pretty simple. He could have said, I was hoodwinked or whatever the fucking deal was. It would have been over in 5 minutes.
5 minutes of dead air.
No.
5 minutes where not a sound was heard except.
I mean, you know what?
Except Garrett's headphones going.
And then
down
you
on the
came
console.
in. You know what? You know what it sounded like? It sounded like you were working for PBS. The questions you were asking him. Okay.
Pro Broadcasting System.
I don't know what it was. You were. Then I tried to get a laugh. I thought it was funny when I said my wife doesn't do anything. I thought that would liven things up.
I set you up like a T-ball. I'm the king. I'm the Ed McMahon of this show.
And I gave it to him, and he, something can be said about that.
Well, he was already pretty pissed. He was pretty happy talking to me and not so much
He
with
was.
you.
I'm standing here going, what the hell's going on with this guy? Stephen in Charlotte, North Carolina, where, by the way, I was once incredibly successful and where my career really, really took off. Many of you go, you think I was only an actor or a...
People used to play 6 Degrees of Separation from Jay Thomas back
in Charlotte. That's
remember?
Exactly correct. Stephen, when you were a boy, did you listen to me every morning as your mom and dad were taking you to school?
I was just a little older than that, but I listened to you all the time when you were in New York City, and I loved it. And I was so happy to find out that you're on the radio now on Sirius.
Now, it's been how many years since you've actually heard me talk on the radio? How many years?
How many years since I heard you? It's probably a good 10, 11, 12 years, maybe even longer.
Over a decade. And is it different now than it was then?
Yeah, I just think you've become a greater guy. I think you put on a great show.
Greater.
And
greater. Thank you. I've become greater.
A greater guy than you?
Yeah.
I guess it's not the proper grammar.
No.
But,
it is the exact right thing to say. It's the exact right thing to say.
We're not making fun of you. We're making fun of Jay.
They're laughing at me because I have some fans and people who, and I so appreciate this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Once I got satellite radio, I researched to find out where you were, if you were, and I found you, and I'm glad I did.
Well, thank you, Stephen.
I listen to you all the time.
Thank you very much. Now let's go to the interview that just completed, the Kevin Bacon interview. How did you feel about it?
We lost him.
What? We lost him?
You sure? I mean, how can we be sure now? Honestly.
He was just
How can we be sure if we've lost Garrett, people or not lost people?
You hung up on that guy before he could comment.
We could be thrown off the air. Nobody would. I mean, people go, well, that's a dramatic pause.
No one respects me. No one. No one fears me or respects me. Pat, Philadelphia. Yes, Pat, how are you? Pat, do you have any respect for me at all? Any respect for me at all, Pat?
No, none. Usually I do. But today I think you were just being an ass. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
You were looking to create controversy where there was none. You were trying to make it look like he was going to be a dick when he wasn't being a dick. And you probably could have got the answer out of him if you would have prodded him a little more. All
right, hold it a second. Okay, I'm not. Listen, if that's the way it sounded, I apologize to him. But you tell me, Pat, how would you have done it? Okay, how would you have done it?
Well, it's funny when you do that with an ass. It really is. But
no, he was not. He's a nice guy. No, he's a good guy. I mean that, and I'll send him a note. I'll apologize. But what would you have done differently?
Well, for one thing, I would have just moved on. Left it alone and moved on. But
I was out of questions at that point. I was out of questions.
You made him feel awkward. With the silence at all. Right. That was your FU to him because he wouldn't answer your question. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I would think this would be real funny.
There's only one thing.
Kevin Bacon, maybe not.
There's only one thing we know for sure.
What?
Jay will not be cast in Tremors 5.
No, I won't. I won't. All right. Well, Pat, has it lowered your opinion of me?
No, I will listen to you again tomorrow.
All right. But are you going to take the next 2 hours off and just...
Is Jay on probation?
No, I'm going to listen for the next 2 hours.
You're going to continue listening?
The next hour, anyway.
For at least the next hour. Okay, thank you. All right.
All right.
Well, I'll continue discussing it. I'll tell you something. You have to say this about me, Rodney. I'm not too big of a man not to think I have room to grow. Okay?
You're not too big of a man to think, what was it? You have room to grow.
Room to grow as a talent.
And actually, you do have room to grow, and that would be your cutting room, where you grow a lot of things.
Garrett, I want you to somehow find Kevin Bacon's address or whatever, and we'll have to email him, and I will apologize to him.
Oh, yeah, it's going to work.
Yeah.
That'll
just
work
leave it
great.
alone. Leave it alone? Leave it alone. Who did Art book that, or Andrea, or did Sirius book that? Who booked that?
That was one of the big people at Sirius. Here.
One of the big people at Sirius booked it. I see. One of the vice presidents of.
Oh my God! Can you imagine the phone call that's still going on right as we speak?
He also didn't seem to know anything about my career. That pissed me off. Also, okay.
You cursed and. Unbelievable amount more than you do with any other interview.
Yeah, you were like butt fuck and
fucking and bullshit and
now what? I got to ask you, Kevin. The first order of business. Let's get the shameless plug out of the way.
Yeah.
First of all, you shit on him because he's doing something charitable, and then you go right into now in Sleepers. You butt fuck these little kids. What do you feel about that?
It's all bad. It's all bad. You're right. It's all bad. Now that you bring it up, it's all bad.
If that ain't a best of, I don't know what is.
Well, here's the thing, and when I come back, now that I'm thinking of it,
I think you should replay the fucking in the third hour today. You got to replay the
when
interview.
When I come back, I will explain to you, and it's the truth. This is almost like a group therapy. Now that you're saying all those things, I absolutely agree with you, and yet all of it was done subconsciously, and I will explain it to you when we come back.
But I already did.
By the way, so many people are commenting in the Facebook and jthomas.com, and Rodney and Christina, everybody is getting comments about it. And truthfully, in the middle of the thing, it's almost like it was not planned. It was not planned. But now that I hear about it, I do feel as though that I probably was jealous, as you said, Rodney. And then and when I say shameless plug, I think I'm kidding, but I don't realize, as I've been told by my family a number of times, how bad it sounds sometimes, because I don't have a soft way of joking. You know what I mean, Rodney? It's not.
Sure.
It's not cute.
No, it was mean.
So we've had a lot of suggestions here. What's the best suggestion you've heard of how I could have asked him about?
Well, I think you could have lightened it up a little bit. So something like, what did you and Bernie Madoff play 6 degrees of separation from you and your money?
I should have put the 6 degrees in there. See?
Well, that would have lightened it up a little. Maybe then he would have said, he would have went, I don't want to talk about that. And then you would have went on to your usual.
Let's go to Joe of Boston. Yes, Joe, the Jay Thomas Show. I don't know who to pick. I don't know who to go to next. Yes, Joe, go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, Joe, thanks.
Hey, I just wanted to comment. I'm a journalist, and the pause that you did after you asked that question is something that we practice on a regular basis. Pretty much trying to get them to feel uncomfortable so they say something in the silence just to fill the void.
That's exactly what I was doing.
How'd that work out, Jay?
Not well.
How'd that journalism work out on radio?
You know what it's like, Joe, when you see these documentaries and they put the camera on people's hands, isn't it?
I mean,
hello?
I do it on purpose just to make people feel uncomfortable. So that way they'll say something and just keep talking.
That's right.
When they keep talking, they say something that they either don't want to say or something that they'll actually, will make your interview look better or sound better.
That's exactly right. Joe, thank you. I didn't even know that's why I did it, but that's why I did it. Okay? I'm accidentally professional. Okay? Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. Jeff Furlot is in New Hampshire. Jeff, do you have a special report for us today, Jeff Furlot?
Jeff Furlot reporting live from the International Space Station high above. Moments ago, astronauts scrambled to fix a satellite owned by Sirius Satellite Radio that went dead for a full 2 minutes. Unfortunately, that mission was scrapped when it was found out that radio host Jay Thomas threw a verbal sucker punch at Kevin Bacon.
That wasn't a sucker punch.
Well, the sucker punch was asking him what it was like to fuck guys in the butt.
Hey, you missed another joke too, Jay. When after you talked about butt fucking little boys for half the interview, then while I'm trying to save some what little meat is left on the bone, Kevin Bacon says that his next film he's going to Thailand. You totally missed it.
I didn't miss it.
It was right there, man.
I didn't miss it at all, but I thought that I'd done enough damage.
That was a T-ball.
All right. Thank you, Jeff
Nice
Furlong.
try, boss. See you later.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Dead Air Dan of South Dakota. Dead Air Dan, we only have about 20 seconds. What do you have to say quickly, Dead Air Dan?
It was Jay or Rodney. Have you ever been past like an accident and you see him putting the blanket over the victim?
Yeah.
It was like that. You want to turn away, but you just can't.
You just can't. You got to
My
see
wife
that
and I
body.
will be listening to the replay tonight in the garage. I can't wait to see her response when you say butt fucking.
Oh, boy. Oh, God, I'm so embarrassed. Oh, man. All right.
Good stuff, Jay. Keep it up.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Okay, in my own little world, Thank you. The Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Conover, Christina, and, of course, the great Garrett Andritz. Yeah. My agent just texted me that they were just about to put me up for a part in that Thailand movie.
What happened?
He's not doing it. Said I don't have the guts to send your picture. He says, is there another name we could use?
Yeah, really.
Oh, boy. Adam Buckman, who used to work at the Post there in New York and was been a television guy forever and ever.
Adam, did you invest any money with Bernie Madoff? Let's get this out of the way.
Oh, he has an uncomfortable thing, too.
He does? What happened to him?
He got fired from the Post, and apparently, authorities seized his computer.
Oh, yeah. They took his computer and gave him the bum's rush.
Yeah, but he never was charged with anything, so no one knows what happens. So I'm sure Jay will bring it up.
Yeah.
That'll be subject number
everybody is led. I mean, even at our place, I don't know if they do it now, but every radio station or any company I've been at, when they fire you, they always have a security guard lead you out. I mean, I don't know what that's all about, but they do that. So
you don't steal something.
Or I don't know what the deal is. So
you don't smack somebody on the way out.
Well, look, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask everybody everything from now on. What do I have to lose? That's it. No, I feel awful now because on the break, Rodney was saying that the interview was bad from the very beginning. And I thought I was being relaxed and glib, and I thought it was going well up until that, the Bernie Madoff question, Now that you think about it, Rodney, was it going well? Is there any good part of it?
Hold on. Let me think.
What time's the rerun on tonight? What time's the rerun?
I believe 9 o'clock.
Eastern time, 9 to midnight?
And then it's getting replayed at 3 o'clock tomorrow, too.
All I can say is
tomorrow. Don't miss it. And then we'll try and get it at jthomas.com eventually.
9 o'clock Eastern.
It'll also go along with when we had the guy who had spent 23 minutes in hell, and Kevin Meaney kept asking him how much gay sex was down there.
And if the wind if he got boners and stuff. Oh.
That's right. And the guy kept going, I don't know why you keep asking me those questions. Mark, Pennsylvania, 888-4-102-102. Yes, Mark, how are you?
I'm fine, Jay. Hey, I just want to tell you, I want to see that as a trademark in your show. See how much dead air you can get out of these guys from now on. Just ask an uncomfortable question and leave them hanging. Let them twist in the wind.
I don't think it was as long as you think. I think it was about 20 seconds or 30 seconds.
Well, I thought I loved it. He needs to get over himself. Everybody does something stupid or loses money.
Yes,
or whatever.
I did it too. I lent money to friends of mine who were like my parents, and they ended up screwing me. I mean, a ton of money, and one almost like a third of my retirement stolen from me. I took them all the way to the state Supreme Court in North Carolina. They were like my parents. I know about losing money, for Christ's sakes.
Well, I just wanted to say I liked it, and I think Kevin Bacon needs to get over himself. I mean, after all, it's not like he's Matt Damon or anybody,
No, but he's a terrific actor, and the whole deal.
He's wonderful.
He really is good.
I go out of my way looking for Kevin Bacon movies all the time.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Just sad. Let's go to Rich of Indiana. Rich, can we change the subject here, Rich? You have something else to talk about?
Yeah.
What is it?
In Michigan, scratch off a lottery ticket with a Cheers cast on it.
Yeah.
Not on.
The Michigan Lotto ticket has the Cheers cast, and I'm not on it.
Carla
Cliff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they didn't like me, Rich.
Was pissed. So what else?
Well, I can't hear him. He's breaking up. But for those of you in Michigan, they didn't like me. And when you get killed on a TV show, they don't like you. When they like you, they keep you around and they allow your character to grow. But when they run you over with a Zamboni machine, would you say that would be a good comment to make, Rodney? They don't like you when you're killed on a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like you. I've never been invited to a Cheers reunion, although I hosted one at the Comedy Festival in Aspen a few years back, and I'm the host, and they're having a Cheers reunion, and they said hello to me and everything else, but I wasn't invited on stage to talk to them or anything. It was as if, I was nothing, zero. And it was because Rhea Perlman, I was on the radio in Los Angeles.
Yes, you were.
And I would make jokes about it. Make jokes about the show, make jokes about my relationship.
You make jokes about her stubble.
I made jokes about her stubble. Yeah. What's it like to kiss her?
You said, for instance, and I know this for a reason.
Yes, you do know this for a reason. Because we sat and said, this will be funny if we say this.
This will be great.
Yeah.
You said, for kissing her, making out with her, you should get combat pay.
That's right. That's right. I also said we look like two little monkeys.
That's funny.
We looked like two little monkeys kissing. And then she would say things to me like, I heard you said something about me on your radio show like that. I said, well, I talk about everybody. And then she wouldn't speak to me. And so then, eventually I get killed. And, now Danny was nice to me. They invited me to her, it must have been her 40th birthday. It was a surprise
just to
party.
Rub it in.
No, you know what's weird? We lived about a mile from their house, right? They lived on Los Feliz Boulevard, right? And so I get this invitation. I go to my wife and I say, Jesus, Danny DeVito, they have invited me.
Was it a real small house?
No, it was very big. And Stevie Wonder lived behind them, and you could just hear him knocking.
Stevie bonking his head on the door.
Yeah, you just heard him knocking into furniture and stuff. So I said, I said to my wife, she doesn't like me. And she said, well, we got to go. They invited us. So we go, and her dad said hello to me, and the little kids were there, and Danny was there, and everyone was there. And then Rhea comes in, and it's surprise! And when she looked around the room, as soon as she saw me, her face just fell.
She didn't know you were invited.
No, of course, a surprise party.
Right.
And it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
And then one time I got my head split open in a fake fight that we had.
What is it with you in movies? You get hurt.
The blood was, you're right. It was on the other eye, though. Blood was everywhere, and they were trying to stop the flow of blood. And I remember her looking through the crowd for a moment and seeing that I was going to live, and just shook her head and walked away. Yeah, so that's what happened. It's only because I joke around. I don't mean anything by it.
Yeah, you do.
You know who else hated my guts? Roseanne Barr.
She kind of hated everybody.
She did, but she had threatened to slap me once. And I saw her on a set. I was walking back like on the street of a set, and I saw her, and I hid behind a pillar. That's the truth.
I hid behind Roseanne once.
There you go. Mary Ellen, Cleveland, the Jay Thomas Show, 888-4-102-102. Jay Leno is coming back to late night television. We'll have Adam Buckman, who used to work at the Post.
Buckman.
We'll talk to. I don't know why they made me laugh. Yes, Mary Ellen, go ahead.
Okay. I love the show. Absolutely love it. I was listening at the beginning, and I could tell that Andrea and Art did not book that because they shoved them on you at the very, the dot of 3 o'clock.
Yes, it came too quickly.
I just turned it on, and
thank you,
I went downstairs. My radio's broken, so I'm streaming from upstairs at my computer, and I'm down in the living room.
Right.
So I heard you start to ask him something, and I thought it was that, first of all, he was talking about how his movies, how he liked showing diverse characters like that. Yes. So I think when you brought up about the butt fucking, that was fine. But I also, all of a sudden, I thought you said something about if he would take calls, and I couldn't really, I didn't hear the Madoff question. And
no, I said we're getting a lot of calls, that are saying that, and
which was kind of a lie.
It wasn't a lie, Rodney. It was happening. It was happening.
Christina, was there even one?
Ronnie, you didn't say a thing. You let him sit there with that dead air.
My mic was broke, honey. I swear to God. Ask Garrett.
Don't call me honey. I'm probably older than you. But
okay,
anyway,
sweet
the point
bonus. Sorry.
The point is that, you know,
hey,
I mean,
sugar tits.
I didn't
Let
know
me
what
straighten you out.
But that's like in the news, and for him just to think that nobody would ask him that is ridiculous.
I agree.
Just the fact that you had to hurry up and you know, like accede to the serious people's wishes to immediately interview them, I didn't think was right.
Very rude of the management of Sirius XM.
But I mean, it was funny.
Don't tell him that,
What
Garrett.
did you just say?
Very rude.
Yeah, moving on.
Oh, moving on. I mean,
that's fine, but
Mary Ellen.
You went around the corner and you got back. It was fun.
Come on.
I came in a good mood. I skipped.
Mary Ellen, stop.
Did you hear that I skipped to work? How happy I was. I was skipping.
Right. Must not be snowing where you are, Jay.
No, it isn't. It's beautiful. Yeah. Mary Ellen, thank you very much. This is a woman that knows me, feels for me. Thank you. Thank you. Michael, Philadelphia. Yes, Michael. How are you? Michael of Philly. No, next one. Michael of next one. Yes, sir, Michael. How are you? Yeah.
Well, the lottery ticket, I hear it did feature the Zamboni, though.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, they were sitting on it.
No, they weren't. And I was under it, dead.
I want to pile on here.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing you did mention about is his parents.
Yeah.
While his father, Edmund, is a world-renowned civil planner, civil engineer, and urban planner.
Right.
You asked if he was a dope smoker.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
was that bad?
If his dad was a drug-taking, long-haired hippie. That's not the first thing you asked.
He recently died.
Yeah.
Well, my father's dead too. Okay.
That's not the point.
My God. Everybody's parents die at some point.
Quit making it about you. You were asking.
Can I be honest? I died about an hour ago. Just about an hour ago, I died.
He's a legend in this town.
Who is?
Edmund Bacon.
Okay.
Edmund Bacon?
Okay,
just
fine.
trying to pile on,
excuse me.
I said.
Edmund Bacon is a legend in your town? Edmund Bacon.
Yeah.
And what
do you have a guy
named? Who he is?
What's his
Do you have
name?
Harry Ham and Eggs? Is he a big deal there too?
And Sally Pork?
Scrapple McFlea.
I don't even know what that means. Good one.
I don't either. We laughed. Thank you,
would
Michael.
love it.
Thank you, Michael.
God bless
Thank you very much. Ron, Chicago. How are you, Ron? The Jay Thomas Show. Yes, sir.
Jay!
What?
Jay!
Yeah.
I think Rodney is number one.
All right, you know what that was? That's radio mucus. Thank you. Thank you. Get it? Radio gold. That's radio mucus.
Not just because you said I'm number one?
No, because he was imitating Ira.
You're showing exactly
what?
Why the Kevin Bacon thing went wrong. Because of your incredible insecurity and jealousy. A guy can't even call in and imitate Ira. See, if he would have imitated Ira and said Jay is great and went sorry, you'd have kept that guy on forever.
No, radio mucus. I'd have said the same thing. I have it written in front of me.
Not true. Somebody call in and imitate Ira and say how great Jay is.
Radio mucus. That's
Jeff,
what I... No,
Furlot is your next, what do you call?
You're the one that's in... By the way, can I be
Incredible.
honest?
I came in there and basically saved your career.
The shit you were asking Kevin Bacon was so boring. Who cared? And you were always going, oh, I wish I had my own show.
Hey, Jay,
what would it be called? The Boring Hour?
Hey, Jay, if I wanted my own show, I'd have this one. Okay, so watch yourself.
The Boring Hour. My God. And your wife, she's on quite a hit show herself.
I set you up with about 4 T-balls, and you sat there crying in your soup because you know.
Do we have a little bit of the Kevin Bacon interview left over for those who may not have heard it?
Oh, boy.
What do you have? How much do you have?
1 sec.
Am I going to be embarrassed when I hear myself? Did you know this guy personally?
No, you'll love it. In the meantime, you could probably Fat Albert.
You don't want to talk. Okay. Wait, go back again. Let's try it again. No, we're talking over the dead air. Try it one more time. Here we go. Did you know this guy personally?
I don't think I want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk? Okay. All right. Because I want to say that in my life, as an I've lost too, but they always, make it out to be with this guy, it's bigger and worse and everything else. And I was just wondering if in life sometimes you invest and shit happens.
Shit does happen.
Okay.
So, Kevin, I understand your wife has a really great show.
Shh. All right. So that's that. Still there, Kev?
I'm here.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I brought that up if it pissed you off. I wasn't told not to, so I didn't,
No.
All right.
So I'm going to go get another beer.
Boy, I took this fucking thing down, didn't I?
See, I think he's fooling with
Let's recover now, and then we'll...
No, I'm here.
All right.
He's not, though.
He's not kidding?
That's it, yeah.
Dude. I think he was kidding.
No. You think Garrett's kidding?
No, I think that Kevin Bacon was kidding with me. You don't? Don't you think he was acting and fooling around and trying to make me feel uncomfortable like as a joke? No?
Yeah, people do that all the time.
That's what I thought. I really did. I thought it was two brilliant actors kind of sparring with each other. What did you think?
Oh, now he's a brilliant actor.
Why don't we do the shameless plug?
Late with that statement.
What's that? Why don't we do the shameless plug? All right, take that off. All right, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. That didn't sound as cute and light as I thought it did. That did not sound as cute and light. Gosh darn it. I wanted to go to Thailand too, Rodney, and they were going to make me up to look like an Asian assassin,
Or a little boy.
When he said Thailand, I turned my mic off and I took my headphones off and I just sat down on the floor. I couldn't. It was too much.
There.
No, and he didn't get it either. Fat Albert of Florida. Yes, Fat Albert. Yes.
Hey.
Yes, Fat Albert. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was pretty uncomfortable, and I think you're right. I think in a way, you kind of felt bad, yes. And I think your silence was, trying to have him say something to sort of recover out of it. But
yes,
maybe you could have asked him, like, are you going to get any restitution from the case? You could have phrased it really a different way. I mean, if you really would have thought about it. But I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to interview.
No, he could have said.
You should have asked. You should have said to Kevin, "Listen, I've got a great investment if you want to recover from some of these recent losses."
Really?
That's what I would ask. I told him, "Hey, I got this great thing. I got a stock dip."
I don't think that would have been good either.
Hey, Kevin, you ever invest in penny stocks?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Fat Albert. I got some unfortunate emails yesterday about a little later than this. The trainer at SeaWorld in Orlando was killed by a killer whale who grabbed her ponytail and pulled her underwater.
I do that with my girlfriend, but she asked me to.
Right.
In front of shocked onlookers at Shamu Stadium. And it was in Florida, right? It was in Orlando?
Yeah. You know how much it costs to put that show on?
How much?
Well, imagine what you got to pay somebody to voluntarily be killed by a whale every day.
No, I don't think that was part of the show. Here's the crazy thing, and people, took offense, or I got a couple of emails, do you not think anything is a tragedy and all that? I just finished watching all of these documentaries, and there's so many out there about the Japanese and how they catch these whales and how they catch the dolphins for these shows and all this stuff. And this is a fact that I came away with. First of all, this killer whale has killed 3 other human beings. Garrett, did you know that?
No.
Yes. Christina, did you read that this whale had been involved in 2 other killings before this?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Breaking news.
Okay. Very funny. The reality is that in the wild, a killer whale, for as long, you can go back to Moby Dick, okay? That was not a killer whale, by the way. That was a gray whale. You can go all the way back to Moby Dick.
The whale beckons.
You can go back to Captain Ahab, okay? And a killer whale has never in the wild killed a human being.
Do you think
ever.
He used Ahab's wooden leg as a toothpick? You ever think that happened?
But also, they've had whales who were about to be killed, who have attacked whaling boats and stuff like that. But never, people have been swimming with the killer whales and everything else. If you watch this movie, The Cove, you will see that these animals, they have a thought process that may be close or better than our thought process.
Do you know how many people are killed at SeaWorld in a lifetime compared to how many people will be killed just in the valley today on the streets? I mean, it's not a big deal. One person killed, okay? The price of sushi just plummeted. What am I going to do?
Here's the bad part of it, is that I suggested that and if you watch any of these documentaries, and The Cove I recommend, very, very hard to watch, though. And I think the Japanese are horrible people for, killing all these. They're killing everything. And they're angry that we're telling them what to do. But the main thing is that if they took this whale and put it back out in the ocean, it would not attack a human being. It wants to get out of captivity. It's like a crazed prisoner. And it has said 3 times now, let me loose. They are now going to keep it in some enclosure for the rest of its natural life, which could be another 30 years, for Christ's sakes. And what? Or what?
You could make a lot of could make a lot of sushi.
Well, the other thing is many people say that sometimes the women that train them are not supposed to get around them when it's their time of the month.
Well, yeah, there's blood in the water.
That's exactly right.
Everybody that's ever seen Jaws knows you don't throw chum in the water and expect these sharks to act. Or these large mammals, seagoing mammals.
And it's terrible that this woman was killed or whatever, but it's not because and that whale, those whales are upset. They're in a little tiny enclosure, and they're not in the ocean or whatever, and they need to. What was that movie where the kid let all the whales go? Free Willy.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Free Willy. Now, how did Willie get loose? I never actually saw that movie. How did Willie get loose? Did he jump over something at the end of the movie?
Yeah, he jumps over the kid.
And he goes into the ocean and he escapes, correct?
Right, and then Michael Jackson sings.
Now,
Rodney Michael Jackson jumps on the kid.
Rodney said to me,
I wonder what he was singing about.
Yeah.
that the killer whale can't live. The killer whale can't live in the wild anymore because it was raised in captivity. Well, I take exception to that. Incredible exception. It will figure it out, okay?
No, it will not. And it has nothing to do with the whale. The other whales, the wild whales, will kill it because of all the unnatural scent it has on it from being in captivity.
Because a human touched it.
Not just human, just everything about being at SeaWorld. There's some of the... even some of the, what you would buy at the, you get a Coke, you maybe get some peanuts to go with it. That will be on there. And all the crap they throw in the pool, the chlorine, all of it. The other whales will kill it, Jay.
We don't know that. That's nonsense. They're smart.
They'll tried it before.
Glad you're out, man. Like that. It's like getting out of prison. It's like
they'll say glad you're out as they're butt fucking it. I had to throw that in there. Seems to be just seems to be a theme today. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm trying to get away from that now. We've talked about it enough. Yes, we've talked about it enough. You know what? It happened. It's over. It was over an hour ago. The Kevin Bacon thing, I'm happy for his charity. Whatever happened to Adam Buckman? Yeah,
hey,
you were like the butt fucker.
To Gary from Little Rock.
Would you stop? Yeah, you were like the butt fucker. Would you stop it, please? Would you stop it, please?
I think...
Long-haired, hippie, liberal types.
Something's wrong.
Would you stop it, please? Because it seems like the interview keeps coming back and back. Okay. Basically, you butt fuck guys and beat them up. Would you stop it? Stop it. It's don't rerun it. Don't rerun it on Friday.
Don't you feel like Jay's the dad and he's out for the night and we're just fucking everything up in here?
Fucking no, I'm not kidding. Leave it alone. I want you to stop it. I do so many interviews. Every now and again, I screw them up. That's all. Doesn't happen that often. What happened to Adam Buckman, who was going to talk about Jay Leno? Where's that interview?
He heard the other interview and left.
He was listening, and that was it.
Yeah, he's off to Thailand.
All right. Hey, it's the. I'm not going to take any more questions about the interview.
Well, I will.
No, it's over.
Hey, Don of Delaware, what do you got to say? Don, one up. There you go. Don, what's happening?
I think it's only 3 degrees of separation.
Why's that? Why's that?
Hello?
Yeah, why do you think that?
It's only 3 degrees of separation.
Yeah, why do you say that?
What does that mean, Don?
You said with Kevin Bacon it was 6 degrees of separation, and you didn't think that you were 6 degrees, but you are. You're only 3 degrees of separation.
How does that work?
What does that mean?
All right. You were in a movie with Ted. You were on Cheers with Ted Danson.
Right.
Ted Danson was in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, but the TV doesn't count. It has to be movies.
No, you can use anything.
No, you can't. You can only use movies. Garrett, am I right?
Right.
Wah, wah.
You want
Sorry,
to hear
Don.
something?
Hey, you know what? We need to move on to Fran of Connecticut. Hi, Fran.
I always thought
What's happening?
that was stupid, that 6 degrees of separation. Yes, go ahead, Fran, the Jay Thomas Show. How are you, Fran?
Yes, I'd like to make a music request on Silence is Golden by Jay and the Americans.
You want to hear Silence is Golden by Jay and the Americans, Garrett. We will come back and we'll play that on the Jay Thomas Show with Rodney Lee Cano. Shut up.
Silence is golden. But my eyes.
It's the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons.
Silence is golden, golden.
Right.
But my eyes still see.
Thank you. Martin in Washington, the Jay Thomas Show, 888-412-102. And I got so screwed up at the time and so, discombobulated by the poor Kevin Bacon thing. I thought this was the last half hour of the show. That just goes to show you what happened to me, how upset I got. We will be talking about Jay Leno, but with the Adam Buckman guy, but it'll be after the 5 o'clock Eastern time hour. So I got all messed up here. Yes, Martin, go ahead. Martin of Washington. See, that it rattled me completely. Yes, Martin, hello.
Yeah, it actually is 2 degrees to Kevin Bacon.
What does that mean?
Okay, go. What is it?
Well, Kevin Pollak, you've been in about a half a dozen movies with Kevin Pollak, and he was in A Few Good Men.
That's right.
2 degrees.
That's right. Now, listen, Kevin Pollak just had something terrible happen to him. Terrible. He was going
Bernie
to
Madoff ripped him off?
No, he was going to be the host of this new quiz show. And it was called Little Geniuses, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, big scandal.
And there's a big scandal that one of the producers told the kids the area of expertise they were supposed to know about or whatever. And of course, who turned the producers in, right?
Yeah, the other parents who lost.
That's exactly right.
Of course.
So, did you know about this, Martin of Washington, about poor Kevin Pollak?
Well, I heard of the show. I didn't know that he was that this had happened.
Why is that so bad that they fake something on television, Jay?
Well,
that's exactly what the article said. Every article said the same thing.
Who fucking cares if it's fake?
There are rules about quiz shows.
Why?
Maybe not.
But who cares?
Yeah, but there are rules about
Why?
quiz shows.
Why?
Because
it's television.
No.
It's all fake.
Well,
television is fake. It's not real.
Deal or No Deal isn't fake.
If
I
you're
don't
giving
give a
people
shit.
money, it's payola if you're giving people money.
That's right.
But who cares?
Well, you can't fake American Idol. You can't. You're not supposed to.
Oh, you can't, huh?
Well,
That
no,
show's
American
not fake?
Idol.
I
American
got news
Idol
for you. They
but it's-
manipulate the shit out of that show. It's about as real as that Kevin Bacon interview was.
You can't fake a quiz show.
But I'm saying, I know what the rules are, Jay. I know what the legal rules are.
Right.
What I'm saying is, why? It's bullshit that they can't fake it. They can fake reality shows and call them reality.
I listen, I don't disagree with you that if you're going to win $100,000 or $1 million in The Bachelor or whatever, then of course they
those
manipulate.
are completely phony.
I agree. They can't regulate those because they can't catch them.
Oh, they can catch them in 2 seconds.
But on a quiz show, they are supposed to have some integrity.
Why? It's a fucking TV show. Who cares?
You know the answer. Why do you keep saying that? You know that on a
You've never told me the answer. Why it's so important that a quiz show be
on
real.
a quiz show, and like Deal or No Deal, if the woman were to know where the money was, which she doesn't, it would be illegal.
I know it would, which I think is stupid. It should be completely legal. You should be able to make up anything you want. It's television. It's not real.
Well, on a quiz show where you're supposed to not know the answers, it is against federal law.
Well,
whereas on a reality show, they can't, for whatever reason, they don't play by the same rules, but they pretend.
Guess what? On Hollywood Squares, the celebrities knew the answers.
No, they didn't.
You want to bet? I'll bet you.
I've been on Hollywood Squares.
Dude.
I've been on all those shows.
Dude, they would give the celebrities the questions beforehand, and so their writers could write snappy comebacks to them.
That's right. I did that, too. I did that also.
Okay. So if Hollywood Squares can do it, why the fuck can't My Little Genius do it?
Because that show...
Hollywood Squares, people were winning money.
No, we weren't winning the money. The people that were guessing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but that's different. We were supposed to fake it. So they gave us the answer. We could either give the wrong answer or we could give the right answer. Excuse me. I believe they gave us 3 ideas, and one of them was correct, but we didn't know. That's
My
right.
point is, you're watching television, and if I can write a really entertaining quiz show about little geniuses that is completely fake, just like every other television show is fake, Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox don't really live in an apartment together, why should that be illegal if I can write a really good show that's a quiz show? It's 100% fake. Who gives a fuck? I'm entertaining people.
That's not the way it goes. When you say quiz show, there is a federal law because of what happened years ago, 21 and all that stuff. That's
well, so what? It's a stupid federal law.
Okay, you may say it, but something has to have some laws.
Why?
Because we're not all libertarians like you are.
I'm not a libertarian. I'm saying to you there's so much phoniness and fake stuff on television anyway. Why make quiz shows? Why make an example of a quiz show when there's 5 other shows that are supposed to be real that are not real? They're lying. The point is the federal law is saying you can't lie. You can't lie and say this is true and it's false. And yet every other fucking show is...
No, here's the law. You cannot give quiz... the word is quiz show. You can't give quiz show contestants the answers before the show. It doesn't say reality show.
Yet you can take a show like The Bachelor, where there's millions of dollars at stake, and completely make it phony. That's
because at the end of the day, The Bachelor makes his decision. Now, whether he's manipulating...
That is bullshit, and you know it. You were on a show like that.
Now, hold on a sec. Hold on,
Martin.
1 second.
Go ahead.
What you're doing, you're not in effect giving everybody the upper hand here. You're giving a couple people the upper hand.
Well, so what? If it's entertaining, it's television. Great. We had a great time.
It's not entertaining to the people who don't win, and this is a contest. They're playing for money.
That's right.
But you tell them you tell them before the show, hey, you're going to come in second, and Bob, you're going to come in third.
Okay, but that's not what they told them. They just gave this other kid an upper hand that he didn't deserve.
Fine. I don't give a shit. I'm watching
As soon as you have a loser, they're going to complain. So where Mark Burnett made the mistake... The reason why I say poor Kevin Pollak is this. It's a whole different thing. Kevin Pollak, who's a nice enough guy and a very funny comic, I have done television shows and I've done movies with and everything else. This guy wants to make it so badly, and he wants to sell scripts and he wants to get parts and everything else, and he's the quintessential guy that Rodney, not unlike us, I guess, but he does talk about himself and his projects and who he knows and all this. So now he hooks up and he's going to make millions of dollars on this quiz show, right? Because it was probably going to go. Now they canceled it.
Deal or No Deal, by the way, is phony.
No, it isn't.
You think that Howie Mandel's actually talking to the silhouette of the guy up in the background?
Because yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Dude, I got news for you. He's not.
No, I auditioned for the daytime version.
They're
know
not
what?
Actually
you don't know
talking
anything
to that guy. That's phony.
That's not phony.
I did it. It's completely phony.
They don't let him make the decisions. You're nuts.
No, that guy really exists. He actually goes out to bars in L.A. and tells people that he's the the banker guy, and everybody doesn't believe him.
No, I auditioned for the daytime thing.
An audition is not the show, Jay.
They told me how it worked. They
Jay,
brought us.
When you auditioned for that British show, was it actually the show, or did we just fake it?
No, it was actually the show.
It was not. We faked the shit out of it.
We did the pilot, and the pilot was to show the potential buyers.
And
that's
an audition is just as phony as one of the... Listen, on Deal or No Deal, when Howie picks up the phone...
He's talking to somebody.
He's talking to somebody, but it's not that guy in the silhouette up at the top of the screen. That's a bunch of bullshit. It's for theatrical... it's for fun. It's for entertainment.
You want everything to be ruined all the time.
You're right. I want everything to be ruined because that kind of shit that's keeping you down, Jay. You ought to be on my side.
What? And start saying everything's fake? I just feel badly that poor Kevin Pollak,
fake,
who needs a payday, got screwed.
Hey, how about take all the quiz shows and all the reality shows and fucking throw them all in jail because they're faking it?
Well, here's the real truth.
Then they can put on real
Martin,
shows
I'm
with
going to
real
go
actors.
to you. Martin, I'm going to tell you something. What is really sad is if they let the shows be real, they would still be good. Mm-hmm. That's the sad part. They are so frightened that there's going to be dead air or someone's going to be uncomfortable, right? I'm not joking. What they did was with the kids is they gave them some areas that they were going to ask them questions in. And I don't think that that's against the law. But
do you think the show where the guy talks to dead people, do you think that's real, Jay?
No, he does.
He knows it's not real. Get out of here.
John Edwards?
Yeah.
He believes it.
He does not. It's a complete phony show. It's fake. It's pre-planned. It's bullshit. And yet it's on the air. Why aren't they thrown in jail?
They ought to be thrown in jail.
Okay, now you're with
me. What they ought to kill John Edwards and see if he can come back.
Yeah, that's right. See if he can still talk to us.
Now there's a show. So Martin of Washington, do you feel badly for poor Kevin Pollak who needed a job so badly and this was it?
Oh yeah, he probably wasn't colluding in the conspiracy here. He got the short end of the stick.
And even if they weren't in trouble, even if the guy's accusation held no water whatsoever, you will never see Little Geniuses on again because
don't say that.
You won't see
say that.
They'll call it something else, and maybe I'll be in it.
Well, Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire came back, and it was called
something else, right?
The Bachelor
and The Bachelorette. That's right. Thank you, Martin. You changed the subject, and we moved away from an unfortunate situation that happened earlier.
I hate that shit.
And I'm glad we moved on. Thank you, Martin, very much.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Mike of Florida. God, I'm glad that this is.
Hey, Jay, how's it going?
Oh, good. I feel like I'm running naked in a breeze right now. I feel so free and easy. I feel like skipping again. Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I just want to let you know I enjoy your show immensely. I'm a traveling salesman, and I just got done filling the car up with gas, and now I hear you got a guest on the show, Kevin Bacon. I'm like, wow, this could be incredible, because normally your guests, a little bit different. They're not the big movie stars. And then I think I want to let you know it wasn't just you on that part. Kevin had no part of wanting to be any fun. You served him up jokes yourself, like with John Belushi and the blow on the airplane trips. I mean, he didn't want to have any fun with that.
No.
So it's not your fault. Please.
Thank you.
Your guests are normally fun.
Thank you very much. Well, you know what? I will tell you that all the years I've been doing radio and television, I find movie stars and some of the big ones are fun, but most of the time they're not very much fun. And when you watch the Academy Awards, watch how they read when they get up on the stage. And it always amazes me how some of the greatest actors we have who are winning an Academy Award don't look like they're very interesting when they're just talking. Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yeah. Except for a couple, but...
Oh, by the way, if Jack Nicholson comes up and does something, they say he was stoned or drunk, right?
Right.
That's right. I've heard him say, I'm going up there having a good time, and they're accusing me of being stoned and drunk, and I totally agree with that. The worst guy at the awards is Robert De Niro. I don't even know why he goes up there,
Right.
And then you see him in a movie, and he can play anything, and you go, what is the deal? What's the deal? Ricky Gervais is such a genius because, and Rodney and I were talking about this, if you watch the original Office that he wrote, and then the piece of crap... directed, the piece of crap that they have on the United States, and you see how real he is, and then when he does his comedy, how real he is, they should have just run the English Office, but they would never do that in the United States. Never. You talk about dead air and having to think about what the guy just said and the pauses and everything else. That was the whole bit about that show, the English version of The Office. You know what he made for the English version of The Office, Rodney, by the way? What he got paid?
What?
$100,000.
Yeah, I wonder how much he makes off each
$100 million.
Yeah.
$100 million.
Hey, have you seen the movie The Invention of Lying?
I heard it was bad.
Hey, Garrett, have you seen it?
No.
Christina?
No.
Nope.
Never saw it. Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's ever even wanted to see it.
It was a really good movie.
I'll rent it on the Netflix.
I thought you said you already saw it.
No, I never saw that.
Oh, you didn't?
Talking about The Office.
Oh,
I love Ricky Gervais.
You guys got to see The Invention of Lying. It's really good.
Oh, I saw that. I hated it.
Why?
Because it wasn't... People weren't not lying. They were abruptly telling the truth all the time.
Right.
Which is not... I thought it was going to be, if you ask someone a question, they can't lie to you.
Well, that's Liar, Liar. That's already been done.
I love that movie.
Like, they would just walk up to someone and be like, that's a really stupid haircut. Now, just because you can't lie doesn't mean you have to do that.
You're right. That was the point of the movie, which I thought was hysterical, which I think that's how life ought to be.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
Let me go all the way back.
Go ahead.
I did that with Kevin Bacon, and you shit on me.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I did the fucking truth, and you shit on me and threw me under the goddamn bus, you lying, bald-headed prick. I'm mad at you for this. I really am.
Hey, no, it's okay. I'm here.
You've made me feel awful today, and I skipped to work.
Nice.
You should have backed me up, threw me under the goddamn bus. Even on the break, you're going, what were you thinking? What were you doing? All of that. I don't even know what time it is. I got so
Christina
upset.
and Garrett, will you straighten this fucker out before?
Yeah,
he
well,
tells
you know
another
what?
lie?
No one's going to straighten me out. You know what?
The Kevin Bacon thing was over during the break. I said that was the greatest interview ever, and you know it.
What a liar! You're just like the quiz show people.
Did I?
You're
Or
a
did I
liar.
not?
Then what is this you're doing?
Agreed that it was wonderful.
You're a liar.
We all, including me, said that
you
was
didn't.
fucking.
No, you
Hey,
didn't.
Christina wouldn't lie.
I would never lie.
You said to me, "Oh, well, I guess you're not going to be doing any Kevin Bacon movies." That's what you said to me.
Which is true.
No,
but
it
I
isn't.
also said it was a great interview.
Really?
Yeah, he definitely gave you a lot of shit, but he also said it was a great interview. He's
All
been
I
giving
heard
you
was the
shit the whole time.
Christina.
Hey, you know what?
All I heard
You
was
little-
the shit.
Hey, you little skipper. Screw you, skipper.
Rodney's taking his ball and he's going home.
Yeah, skipping to work.
Here's that dead air again.
How do you like it now?
That's cool. I'm here. No, I'm here.
Just everybody breathe heavy so we don't get thrown off the air.
Micah, Florida, say something. Say something.
Kevin Bacon, boring. Don't interview him again.
All right.
Yeah, don't worry.
You don't think that'll be a rebooking anytime soon?
No.
Hey, Garrett, you know what? Before you hit the button, call his wife, would you please? Well, I'm never invited to anything because I think people think I'm going to, say something awful or stupid. Fucking, why don't we do the shameless plug where your parents, these dope-smoking, long-haired hippie liberals?
Say that again?
I say, well, your parents, these dope-smoking, long-haired hippie liberal types, basically, you butt-fuck guys and beat them up and everything else. Yeah, you were like the butt-fucker, well, the woodsman, when you played the pedophile. I mean, when I hear stuff like that, I always think it's bullshit. So when I read that, I thought, that's bullshit. I wouldn't have hung with the guys that I had to butt-fuck in the prison. That sounds like a lot of blow right there. Everybody wants to know, the fucking Bernie Madoff thing. Did you know this guy personally?
I don't think
Kevin?
I want to.
You don't want to? Okay, all right. Because I want to say that in my life as an investor, I've lost too, but they always, make it out to be, with this guy, it's bigger and worse and everything else. And I was just wondering if in life sometimes you invest and shit happens.
Shit does happen.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
That's that. Still there, Kev?
I'm here.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I brought that up if it pissed you off. I wasn't told not to, so I didn't know.
No.
All right. Boy, I took this fucking thing down, didn't I? Kev, let's recover now, and then we'll...
No, I'm here.
I thought you'd say, well, it happened, whatever the fuck, blah, blah, blah. Well,
or maybe on the...
Yeah, but if you want to give him shit, my fucking wife just hangs around the house all day. Doesn't do a fucking... Not a fucking thing. Apparently no one's talking to me anymore. Apparently no one's talking to me. Completely left out now. Completely fucking left out.
Screw the interview, guys. Thanks a lot. I got to jump. Thanks for the plug.
Thank you.
God, that click came before the sentence even ended.
All right.
Thanks for the click.
I have that feeling again in my stomach that I had before.
You do? You have that same feeling?
It's like if you lose your wallet.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. It is. It's true. I have this watch, and I'm always afraid I'm going to lose my dad's watch. My dad gave. Oh, where? Oh, it's the worst feeling.
Your father had this watch up his ass.
I have the feeling,
and
like
now
when I
it's yours.
My birth control pill, and I'm like, oh shit, that's the feeling I have right now.
Oh my God, I'm aroused.
Emerson from Oklahoma. Yes, Emerson, what a great name and what a great state. The great state of Oklahoma, where Rodney Lee Conover and I went noodling. It's probably still on the internet. If you type in, Rodney and Jay noodling, we caught those
It's still there, I think.
Catfish. Yeah, it's still there.
Rip my arm off.
Yes, Emerson, how are you?
Just got to say, this bit with Rodney, the way he, whatever you say, he has a big problem with it and then gives you a lecture. Mm-hmm. I don't find it funny. It just goes on and on. Explaining to you what a retard you are to believe that that the quiz shows are not phony, I don't get it. It just doesn't seem funny to me.
I guess I should throw
That's a real argument, though. That's not...
I guess I should throw the word retard around a little more. Huh?
No,
Emerson?
Listen, Emerson, I hope so what you're saying is you even think our arguments are phony. You see, Rodney, what you've done is, it's impossible for us to ever do anything. No, Emerson,
first of all, I don't believe Emerson's from Oklahoma, number one.
Oh.
And number two, nobody names their kid Emerson.
Emerson, this is what he's like. I'm not joking. I've known him forever. He doesn't believe anything. It's sad. It's sad.
So it's not a joke. Okay. All right.
Well, I don't know what else to say other than,
it's not funny. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Hey, Emerson, don't go.
He's gone. He's gone. Let's go to, I believe, Tim of Georgia.
No, not Tim. Don't go to I'm
Tim.
Just kidding.
Tim, you call every day and you try and give us something that's happened to someone in showbiz, but you were the guy that first called and said that this guy Boner was missing from Growing Pains, right?
I didn't say that.
I thought you were the guy that gave us that information because yesterday, his dad, which was another terrible interview, Walter Koenig, who was Chekhov on Star Trek, was with us a couple of weeks ago, and we talked to him only for about 30 seconds, Rodney, and then he ended the interview.
Oh, are you talking about the Larry King show?
No, Koenig. Walter Koenig.
I know, but he was on what show? I missed that.
This show.
Hey, guess what? He walked off the Larry King show the other night before they even started talking.
Why?
I don't know. I just read that him and his wife were just about to go on the Larry King show, and they're like, "Okay, 2 minutes, Mr. Koenig," and they just left. They just walked out.
Well, their son is missing, and he's depressed or something.
Well, his name's Boner.
I don't know what his deal is, but they're looking for Boner, and they were crying on TV.
Maybe he's in cold water.
I don't.
Mine goes
Tim,
away.
what rumor do you have for us today, Tim? Tim of Georgia. What do you have?
I was going to ask you, is it true that Rod Stewart had to have the semen pumped out of his stomach?
No. That's about 50 years old.
That's 50. Where are you getting these rumors from?
Why do you keep going to this guy?
He makes himself laugh. Failed.
I know, but he gets old rumors and then he calls me up and I try to avoid him, but then I can't. I keep thinking he's going to say something.
Hey, Fran from Oregon, you got a T-shirt idea. Go.
Fran, go.
Fran,
You
go.
know what?
T-shirt
Hold
idea.
it. Put him on hold. By the way, you guys doing the dead air is not funny, okay? So you got to talk quickly.
Fran,
the dead air is
T-shirt
my
idea.
bit.
Go.
Rodney Lee Conover's favorite group.
March 13th, Chicago, House of Blues.
Yeah, Flogging Molly's here. Phineas in Arkansas. Always good to talk to Phineas of Arkansas. Yes, Phineas, how are you?
Hey there, fellas. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
My
man.
favorite caller.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You asking Kevin Bacon that is kind of like asking Amy Smart. Other than missing your parents, well, how was the sex?
You know, I will tell you that every time I see Amy Smart and her daddy's on TV, he just seems like this big, fruity guy, her real dad, right? And I find them to be really strange. But, yes, I would never have Amy Smart on the show. Never could. Because you have to ask the question that everybody's thinking. That's all. And nobody ever does. She's on all the talk shows, and no one ever asks her the question you're sitting there thinking. You know, what was that about? What was that like? You
Elizabeth Smart, right?
Elizabeth Smart, right?
Yeah, not
Hey,
Yeah,
y'all
Elizabeth.
Y'all were talking about lactation yesterday, milking and stuff like that. You want to hear a lactation story?
Yes.
Yes, I do. We're talking about Madison, who's starting to lactate, by the way, Rodney.
Yes,
we're talking
warm, sugary milk.
Yes, lactation stories. Yes, Phineas, go ahead. Tell us.
My brother had his first child on my 40th birthday.
On purpose?
5 years later, he had another child. And we were all sitting out behind the house drinking one night, and his wife let it slip. We were talking about, well, are you going to breastfeed this next baby? And she said, well, sure I am. And we were talking about her milk coming in. She said, well, my milk never dried up since the last one. And I said, what? And I guess when they're fooling around, my brother gets to sucking and playing with them titties, and she hadn't dried up in 5 years.
No.
Oh, my God.
That's
no,
impossible.
I believe it. I believe it.
I'm telling you the truth.
Totally believe it.
So she basically nursed him.
Well, I think they used it as some sort of like, she'd stand up over him and squeeze her milk on him and all that other stuff.
Oh, my God. I've heard of a
There's
breast
entire
milk
websites.
fetish.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of like a fetish deal going on.
Oh,
And
my God.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and we were all kind of sicked up by that, and I couldn't believe it. There's
Well, now a wet nurse, and this, if the Chinese emperor. I think if you watch the movie or read the book, The Last Emperor, he had a wet nurse, and he suckled her until he was, in his teens. So
Well,
I
listen to this.
guess that's true. I guess it could be true.
Now, we went to see, I got some cousins, or my dad's cousins that are my age. They're, my grandparents had a lot of brothers and sisters, so my dad's cousins were a lot younger. Well, we went and visited one time, and she had 2 kids, and we all sat down and ate roast beef, mashed potatoes, and carrots. And this boy, the older one, he was sitting there eating and everything like that. He got through eating. He went over to his mom and lifted up her shirt and started sucking her titty. Right there, he's probably 5 years old.
I've seen this in public.
It
was horrible.
How did the tits look anyway?
Wait a minute. He ate roast beef and carrots, and then he sucked the titty for dessert?
Hey, man, you got to wash it
We were all
down.
sitting around, and he was sitting there having a conversation with everybody, talking and everything. And
Did y'all pretend like it wasn't happening? Did y'all sit there like... Y'all just kind of sit there and just do your best to ignore it, or what'd you do?
Yeah, we were all, my wife and I looked at each other, and we were just kind of like our mouths gaped open like, holy shit. Because he had a younger brother, and we thought, well, she's still breastfeeding that kid. But this one, like I said, he just washed his taters down with that milk.
I've seen this happen.
You should have just lifted up your wife's shirt and just started sucking on her titties. No one would have cared.
Yeah, my brother, I don't know about that, but, we were all, we all kid him now about
I'll bet.
nursing his wife, because I said, what do you get out of that? And he goes, man, he said, that warm milk just running all over you and stuff. He just loves.
Yeah. You need to write a book, Phineas. Phineas, why are you wasting it on this show? Write a book. I mean it.
I like y'all. I just enjoy
I know you
talking.
do, but you got a book there.
Question, Jay. Let me ask you one quick question.
Sure.
Weren't you on a show in the 80s with Jamie Lee Curtis?
No. No, that was, no, that wasn't, no, I wasn't on a show with her. Mm-mm.
Oh, I heard you talking about her yesterday. I was just wondering when she was at that school tending traffic, did you ever see her cock?
No, I didn't.
You got the Kevin Bacon interview coming back again.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Hey, y'all have a great day, all right?
All right, thank you. I read...
Good callback.
I read today, big picture in the L.A. Times, it shows Rihanna, who was, beaten up, like a year ago, right? 8 months ago, something. She's dating Matt Kemp of the Dodgers. And did you see that Chris Brown sent them a note? Did you see that? And she was saying that he's recovered. And don't you know the note had to say, hey, Matt, how does my fist taste?
Yeah.
I love how they pretend they're all pals now, By the way, when I am a jealous guy, but in Hollywood or whatever, at least when you're dating somebody in the real world, they don't know exactly who you went out with, right? But in Hollywood, and I'm going to say this about Jennifer Aniston, because I know you love her, right? Every guy that slept with her. You know that you
just
know
about.
It's the oddest thing. It seems embarrassing to me.
And you know what else?
What?
It's a mess down there.
Well, whatever. Though,
I was going to say you can find them on IMDb because they're all her co-stars.
But when you go on, when you'd go to a party or you'd go to a whatever it was, an awards ceremony or whatever, you'd walk in, like Kate Hudson. She's another one. You'd walk in with Kate Hudson, and all these guys that screwed her would be there, right? And yes, of course, there's a double standard. There always will be a double standard, and I'm glad there is a double standard, right? But that's the whole. It's so odd to me that you'd So let's say you really could meet Jennifer Aniston, and you saw all the guys she screwed, monthly, Rodney. That wouldn't bother you at all.
Shit, man, I wrote a whole song about it. Are you kidding me? I would love it.
You would love being with. What's your song? Can you sing it a cappella?
What do you mean? What's my song?
I don't remember.
Played the
song.
Piano and
I remember it at one time. You have
the
it?
computer it was on blew up. So
okay. Well, then fuck it.
We don't have. Please send it to us again, Rodney, because we'd love to hear.
I don't have.
No, he did it
I did it live
on the show. I'd have to find.
Well, you'll have to redo it. That's all.
Yeah, how about forget it?
No, re-sing it. I want to hear your tribute. But all kidding aside, it's never going to happen. But
listen,
it wouldn't bother you
if my saxophone player is listening out there.
Yeah.
Come on over and we'll do this thing.
I'd like to hear an a cappella.
Nah, it doesn't work without the sax.
Well, we'll do it though. We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
All right.
Back in New York State, your governor David Paterson is under pressure now not to run for governor, and of course they're doing this because Mario Cuomo's son wants to run. But the trouble that he is in is because his former driver, and has become his main assistant.
Why are they always doing that?
I don't know. And this guy,
Bernard Carrick, just got 4 years.
That's right. He was a driver for Giuliani, and he wanted to make him the head of Homeland
Security.
All of that. And so now this driver for the governor of by the way, who's an unsighted man, David Paterson, his guy apparently has been accused of slapping women around and maybe, verging on some sort of date rape or something. And the state cops went to see the woman. It was out of their jurisdiction. The governor called the guy and everything else. I'm reading this story. Then I'm reading about Bernard Carrick. Every limo driver I have ever known, every driver guy I've ever known, even the guys that just pick you up from the airport and you don't even know them, you wouldn't hire them to do anything beyond what they're already doing, And Rodney,
which is driving and supplying the coke for the purse.
Exactly. When you're hanging out, the driver gets you the blow. That's exactly right. Or the hookers or whatever. You don't make them anything. Good God. It's amazing to me how these people get into public office or we had, the John Edwards guy on the other day. We had his former assistant, Andrew Young. I mean, go out of your way to read that book, Rodney. You talk about an idiot. And the wife is evil. Poor woman's dying of cancer, and everyone says how evil she is. It is just amazing.
Yeah,
what I fear is, huh?
That guy's a dick that wrote that book.
No, he's not.
He's a complete prick.
No, he's not. No,
there's nothing worse than a disloyal motherfucker.
He's not being disloyal. They screwed him.
Stool pigeon.
They screwed him. They threw him.
Get a shiv right in this.
You would kill him. You'd have him killed.
I'd give they in prison they do that with a shiv.
What do they make those out of? They make them out of a spoon sometimes.
Spoons.
Give it to him good.
Right there in the temple. Boom. Shiv him.
Hey, you worked for Joel Sarnow, who was the producer of 24, and then you did the comedy show at Fox, which should have stayed on. And he's
You
now,
were on that show as well, my friend?
I was on the show also.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very funny. We had a great time, and he's supposed to be this big right-wing thinker and all that. He has made the newest Kennedy shows for the History Channel.
They haven't made it. This is what's funny about this
They haven't
story.
made it yet?
They have not filmed 1 second of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. This is just the shit that's come out after they greenlit the project. This is the shit that's already come out.
Well,
This is what's funny. This is what's really funny about politics.
Well, of course, they're saying that a right-wing guy shouldn't be making a movie or whatever about them. And I guess he sent out the script, and so everybody is upset. And I had to tell you something, just like I said about Patterson.
He didn't send out the script. The script was being shopped around, and he just went for it. So obviously other people have the script. You don't just send a script to one person.
But other people are reading it. Well, the weird thing is that they're saying, how can you say that stuff? If you look, and people in Boston know this, Joseph P. Kennedy Sr. was a bootlegger. Probably had people killed. Who knows what he did? And you talk about an adulterer and everything else. There's stuff out there now that maybe Robert Kennedy might have slept with Jackie Onassis, for Christ's sakes. And even if you sugarcoat the Kennedys, it's bad, right? So I have a tendency in this arena anyway to say that, okay, so they got to power. I don't think, and I mean this about George Bush also, I think you don't realize what it's going to be like when you become president. You know what I mean, Rodney? You're trying to make it to the ball, right? And then you get there, no matter however you can get there. And then once you get in, I think it becomes like a big deal. It's like, I watched that movie Dave last night, where the guy who looks like the president becomes the president, with Kevin Kline. Did you ever watch that? Yeah. Once you become the president, it's like a big deal all of a sudden, I would run for president. I wouldn't know what to do. Once I got there,
I think the greatest movie on that subject is Being There.
I was in that movie.
I know. When an uneducated gardener rises up to be to be an aide to the president, or to be, really high up in politics, and
Chauncey Gardner.
Chauncey Gardner. His name was Chance the Gardener.
That's right.
So they called him Chauncey Gardner. And he rises up through the ranks in Washington because all he talks about are plants and flowers. And people think they're these brilliant metaphors for politics.
Yeah, and even today, as I said earlier, that they're all out in front of this big meeting they're having with the health care and all of that stuff. And CNN is still talking about it. They got a camera on. It's like such bullshit. And what's weird is, why don't they change? If they know we all hate it, who hires their driver and makes them into the second in command? How do you do that? How do you even introduce a person like?
Maybe you want to keep, the party going.
I don't know. I just, it's unbelievable. One of my kids might be a politician. I have one that may actually, Sam may be a politician.
Yeah.
And I talk to him about it all the time. And I said to him, but how are you going to, live this straight and narrow life? It's almost impossible to live.
What politician does? They all
I think in the beginning
things.
they do.
What I remember is the guys that became politicians were the guys you used to beat up in high school.
Yeah, in the band.
Yeah, or they were the guys that were president of the student body or whatever.
Student council.
Yeah, student council presidents. You know, all that stuff.
That's
hey,
why
Adam Buckman. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Adam Buckman, go to adambuckman.wordpress.com. Adam, of course, was at the New York Post for a long, long time, been on the show before. Adam, welcome back to the show. Do you have a book or a column or a blog or something that you want people to go to? Tell us about it.
Well, that's a blog that you just identified, the very complicated and long name that you have to get to.
What is it? adambuckman.wordpress.com.
Well, WordPress is the place anyone can have a blog if you feel like it for free.
So I could have a blog there?
Of course you could. And you could set it up in about 5 minutes. It's amazingly easy.
And just give everybody my secret ideas.
Well, sure. I mean, the ones that you want to divulge.
Rodney Lee Conover is with me, by the way, Adam.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Now, you're here because this Jay Leno is going to come back on March 1st. Is that right?
Isn't that incredible? It's almost like Soviet history. They've torn down the Conan O'Brien statues and erased him from the history books. It's really fantastic.
I think that Jay Leno will come back on, and I think that in about a month or two, he'll tell those jokes, and the older crowd will come back, and I think he'll beat David Letterman within a couple of months, just like he did before.
You know, that's one school of thinking, and it's not illogical to think that just because his absence hasn't been that long. You know, when you think about it. And the whole reason the whole thing went south is because that huge chunk of an audience that you just identified wound up having no place to go. And conceivably, they'll just come back, you know, because they were watching Nightline, and they don't really want to watch Nightline. So, on the other hand, a lot is being said about whether Jay is still likable. Have you heard this?
I have heard it, but I disagree with it because I don't think anybody cared about Conan O'Brien except his fan base, and they weren't Jay Leno fans anyway.
And as it turned out, they weren't big enough to sustain him on The Tonight Show.
Right. Now, I remember, my mother's been dead a long time, but when my mother, from the time, I guess from the time she was in her 70s till she died at, 90 years old, she would always say, "Why are you always on the David Letterman show? He's so mean." And she said, and she'd call him Leno. I love Jay Leno. And I always remembered that my mother always thought that David Letterman was sarcastic and cocky and mean. And a lot of women actors that I know don't like going on his show, and a lot of women don't like watching him. So I think that that Jay Leno is the safe choice when he comes back.
Well, he's always been the safer choice. He's always been the blander of the two entertainers. Right. And and as Merv Griffin said famously, blandness wins and draws the biggest audience if you can achieve it.
Is that why I haven't made it? Because I'm not bland?
You're not bland at all. You're colorful. You're multifaceted.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, why are you so associated with the Letterman show? Didn't the Leno people ever invite you or something?
Well, there was a time when I did all the shows, and of course, if I had a movie or a TV show that was big, I did Jay Leno, and I did Conan years ago too, and I did Letterman, and I did everybody. Everybody had a talk show.
Yeah.
I didn't like to be on the Conan show, and yet they liked me on there. They once offered me appliances to come back on.
What kind of appliances?
Like a refrigerator or something.
Oh, that's nice.
It was the oddest thing. Rodney and I have been together for years. Rodney has helped write all those, couch stories that I tell and everything else. Rodney, do you remember when Conan O'Brien offered me a refrigerator or something to go on the show? Or
yeah, sure.
Well, let me ask: were they going to give it to you after the show, and then you'd have to take it home somehow?
No,
but it was a joke, though. Jay didn't realize it was a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. They wanted me on the show, and they said, we know you only get paid $400 or whatever, but how about if we gave you a refrigerator or a stereo?
But that's funny. We know you don't get paid much, but here's a refrigerator.
I don't think that's unheard of. I mean, maybe they had trade out with an appliance company.
The fact that it was a used one, I thought was kind of unusual.
Yeah,
and the Jay Leno show, and I know Jay my entire life. Jay would always make everybody know that you just told a joke.
Okay.
So you're interviewing me, or I'm interviewing you, and you hit me with a line that you said smoothly, and it sounded like you just thought of it, and I would go like this, hey, bada boom boom, like he would do that to me, and he's done it to other guys, right? So I always thought Jay was a nice guy. When I get on Letterman, for whatever reason, Letterman likes that we're just going to talk. He'll ask me questions that I hadn't planned on talking about or whatever. And so then Jay decided, well, Jay Thomas is associated with David Letterman, and that was that. I became Letterman's boy. Yeah. So that was it. Yeah. So that's what, and now, Craig Ferguson won't have me on.
Why not?
I have no idea. I did a movie for Craig and know him, and he's a part of the Letterman thing. It is an odd little group. I went on Jimmy Kimmel, and that crowd was they were like 15 years old in the audience. And I'm a huge fan of Kimmel's.
It's a good show.
I didn't do well on that show. I think he's the funniest of all of them.
Well, he's doing almost the most old-fashioned of them.
The bits.
He's doing Carson.
It's almost more old-fashioned than Leno's show. It's Jimmy Kimmel in a suit and tie, and he tells these sort of easygoing, casual jokes, and does a couple of sketches. He does some great pre-taped bits. He's really something, that guy.
Now, Rodney thinks that Ellen DeGeneres should have been given a late-night show. Don't you, Rodney?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because her daytime show, I'm sure she could adjust it for nighttime viewers because she's a terrific stand-up comic. But her daytime show is hysterical. I mean, I understand the audience is for a particular, audience that watches during the day. But that show is great. I love watching that show.
Well, Jay, why do you think women don't seem to work as late-night hosts, though?
I don't know. I think men control the clicker.
Yeah,
I think that's a joke that comics always tell. But I think men control the clicker. And I don't watch it.
But didn't they like Joan Rivers? I mean, didn't they just love Joan Rivers?
Well, she never worked.
That was a long time. Chelsea Handler is my favorite talk show host. I like her show. Yeah, and I'm in the minority there, but I like her.
She's a pioneer in a way, because she made it palatable for all these other little channels to have late night shows.
But she's good.
TBS isn't so small, but George Lopez does a show, and.
Oh, by the way, no one talks about George. Is that only Hispanic?
No. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I've tuned in and seen Anglos abounding.
No. But I mean, are his? I mean, I do George forever. Is his audience only Hispanic?
No, it wouldn't be. I mean, I don't think TBS would sustain a show if it was just Hispanic. There's something weird going on with this George Lopez. Like suddenly. There's a George Lopez moment in history happening. Where you're home and you're watching TV, and that sitcom he did, is on all day. Seemingly. On that Nick at Night channel, or that Nickelodeon thing?
Yeah.
It's on constantly. And I don't think anyone watched it when it was on TV, but...
But is that just Los Angeles, or is that the whole country?
That's the whole country. It's everywhere.
It's the whole country for hours, every day. I didn't know they made enough episodes.
Well, they did. They did 5 years. But when I did Love and War at CBS, we did 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And Love and War will never, ever run in reruns, ever.
You need a fourth year.
No, it's not that. We had Susan Day the first year, then we had Andy Potts the other 2 years, and then the producers, Diane English and her husband, fought with Les Moonves. They argued. Yeah. And they made some kind of crazy deal that if ever they went into reruns, they would have to forfeit some $20 million or whatever it was, and they could never make a deal. And I'll tell you something, had Love and War, even on Lifetime or whatever, run that 66 times and be rerun for years and years and years, we of the cast would have worked off of the reruns more than we would have worked off of the show that ran for 3 years, that I think was 20th, by the way, when they canceled it, which would have been a hit show. But those reruns extend your career, not financially, but people see you on that and they hire you. And that's the great... Well, look at The Odd Couple. It only ran for, 2 years or something?
I think it was 3, yeah.
3 years, tops.
Yeah.
How about Star Trek? 2 years.
3, I think.
3 years.
I think 3 seasons. Yeah.
So reruns are huge for the cast members. And for George's show, I think it's an easy show to run. It is funny. He's a working class guy. But I think he has a huge Hispanic and minority following. Huge.
Well, he probably does. And I guess, I don't know much about the demographics there, but I think a lot of them speak English now, Jay. And
I'm not saying they don't speak English.
I didn't say you.
What are you trying to be? You're trying to be sarcastic with me?
No, I'm saying that.
We had Kevin Bacon on here about 2 hours ago, and I asked him about Bernie Madoff, and it was bad.
Why was he a victim?
Yes, he was. And it was bad. It was bad.
Oh man.
Yeah, it didn't turn out well.
Did you lose any money with Bernie Madoff?
Bernie?
Interesting. No, I didn't lose
Mr. Adam?
I didn't lose any money. I don't have any money.
Okay.
Right.
You know.
Now, Adam, you were so many years at the New York Post. Did you decide to quit because you looked around one day and thought they were too right-wing?
No, I was there for 18 years, and...
Are you a Mac or PC guy?
And, you know... I don't want to go into it here in public.
Now, wait a minute. This is just what Kevin Bacon did.
There's going to be about 4 minutes of silence.
Yeah, it was silent. He said, I don't want to go. I said, okay, I'm sorry. But I said, we all lose money and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I've lost a lot of money, but not with him. But
in other words, he didn't loquaciously discuss the...
No, he got all upset. And then...
He didn't get upset. All he said was, I'd rather not talk about that.
That's not what he said.
Okay.
Anyway.
He never got upset.
I don't know. I had some problems at the Post. And,
like what?
And we parted company. And
what happened?
Huh?
What happened?
I'm not going to tell you what happened. It's not how could it be important what happened at the Post?
If we go online...
Oh, Jay, you missed it.
What?
We were supposed to be silent for like 2 minutes.
No, but listen, I was silent with Kevin Bacon because I was nervous.
Blew it.
I'm not nervous with Adam. I know Adam. I'm not nervous.
Comedy 101.
I don't think anybody really cares as much about what happened to Adam as what happened to Kevin Bacon.
That's my point entirely.
Yeah, that's it. So
I can't hear you very well.
You can't hear Rodney very well.
Is that true? Is he not there with you?
Yes, he's not in the same room, but we're in the same broadcast.
Yeah, they turned my mic down because I'm a little funnier than Jay.
That's right. I'll hold him back. So Adam Buckman...
So one day your computer's there and one day it's not. Is that the deal?
Hello?
He can't hear you.
Okay, now I can, yes.
Adam.
Yes.
Do you get sick of watching TV? Because when I watch it for any length of time, it's not very good. And I could go watch movies and at least you'll see a great one every now and again.
Well, but not necessarily so, but
But on television, I mean, except for the cable or HBO or Showtime or whatever, I was saying to Rodney today, somebody asked me about sitcoms. When I was doing the sitcoms, the guys that wrote them and the executives that helped plan them were raised on I Love Lucy, or they were raised on the Andy Griffith Show, or great sitcoms or whatever. Yeah. And even dramas that really were written by terrific writers.
Yeah.
Even the Harvard and Princeton geniuses that run networks now, they were raised on Who's the Boss, and they were raised on what I think are some of the shittiest sitcoms ever. And so now the shows are really shitty, and you know exactly what's going to happen in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, and not only that, there's a style of comedy it's just insult-driven. That's the thing about sitcoms. It's just basically a character walks in the room and another character destroys their self-esteem by pointing out that they're cross-eyed or that one leg is shorter than the other. And I don't watch that much stuff. I'll tell you this much: I probably watch more TV than most humans do. And I've been watching TV to make a living for 25 years, and it has an effect on you. I used to think. I used to think that I would do this one story where I would actually go to a research facility someplace, and they would hook me up to all this stuff, and I would watch what I would watch in a typical 8-hour period at my office, and it was nasty stuff. Like I'd get like the next 6 episodes of Oz, or that show about prisons. Remember that on HBO?
When you finish your story, I have a story about...
Well, I'd sit there and
Oz.
I'd watch all 6 of them or something in a row. And, and you could barely get through one of those things without getting sick. Not that it wasn't well made and all that kind of stuff. But I would have these days where I would rise from my chair at the end of the day and I'd be wobbly and nauseous and, you know, and I thought, I want to be hooked up to monitors or something, and I want to find out what's happening with this, and I never got around to that.
Well, they do that with kids now with video games and with shows, and they showed that little kids, after a violent TV show or even, you know, something, a cartoon, they shut it off, and the odds of their little brother or sister getting hit in the head with something go up exponentially to what they were just watching, or them arguing with you. Now, I'm gonna tell you a true story about Oz. I do with all these like on March 7th, by the way, I'm going to be on Cold Case, and maybe I'm the murderer. Okay. But I did a special victims unit with the guy that starred in Oz. What's his big star?
The
with
guy,
Maritza Hargitay. What's his name? The guy that what's his name?
Somebody in your will some producer please?
Somebody must know. What's his name, Christina? Do you know?
God, if we only had a television expert here.
Maloney.
What, Christopher
Maloney.
Christopher Maloney. Okay.
There you go.
So I go, and this is like 5 or 6 years ago, I go to, and I'm sitting in the makeup chair, and I'm getting ready to do special victims unit, and so the woman's making me up and everything else, and I see Chris Maloney's picture, and I've watched Oz maybe 2 or 3 times, and in the one that I watched, he was having sex with a guy in the prison. They were naked, and he broke the guy's neck.
While they were doing it or something.
While the guy was going down on him, he broke the guy's neck, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in the chair, and I turned to the makeup woman, and I said, Jesus, I guess this guy Chris Maloney is lucky.
Guess it wasn't that good.
No, I said, I guess this guy Chris Maloney is lucky to have a job, right? And the woman said, what? I said, well, he was on that show Oz. She goes, oh my God, I was with him for that's one of the biggest hits, and she said that's what made him a star.
Without question.
And I said, but it's embarrassing. Who would be a part of a show like that? And I didn't say it to him, obviously. But she said, whatever you do, don't joke about it. That was considered this meaningful, you know, television moment.
Well, I'll say this, you know, his acting, they used to go full out on that program.
Oh my God!
I mean, they were always doing stuff naked, like having fights on cement floors and stuff like this. I mean, there was always a scene. I think if you made your bones on that show,
you had your bones.
Yes,
what?
you had your bones. You had a scene where the guards threw you in the hole naked. Like that was the cliche scene where you'd be thrown in this little cement damp cell, naked, to sit there for 2 months or something.
And then you'd have to curl up in the corner, right?
Well, exactly.
And then they'd open the door, and that little shard of light would cover you, and you couldn't take the light, you know, because you were naked.
Exactly. You would cower, and you would be chastened, and then you'd resume your life in Oz, only to do something horrible. Well,
I will tell you something before Adam Buckman, by the way, go to adambuckman.wordpress.com and that you'll hear anything. You'll read everything about what he thinks of television.
And there were a lot of blog posts about the Jay Leno Conan thing, which everybody will love reading.
Okay, good. But when you're on these shows, the main actors are not very good. The cops, the people that play the cops, except for the really veteran actors who've been around forever. But the young cops that they have go like this. So, you know, where were you? What did you do? Like that. All of us character actors who are making union minimum, by the way, because they only pay you a certain amount. You do top of shows, what they call it. We are crying. We are begging. We're in our dressing rooms trying to get ready for this horrible scene where we have to break down
and admit that you're a child molester.
All of it, yes. Yeah. And the person that's questioning you, who could barely act sick if you gave him poison, doesn't show any emotion and just sits there with a pad, and they're making, you know, $200,000 an episode. I will tell you, that is hard for us. That is they're nice people, but it is difficult. It's the hardest thing to do in television today.
Do you think they just lay back because like they're under contract and they can put in a minimal effort or something, or are they actually acting in some understated way?
They're acting in an understated way. But a lot of them are calling it in, and they've been there 7 or 8 years. I worked with a guy on one of these shows, I won't say what show it is, but he had been like a part-time radio announcer somewhere in the middle of the night. I've never seen him on another show, and he's been on this show for 7 or 8 years, and I know he makes hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million a year, because he's been on so long. And he was talking about his newest lawsuit against an agent or a manager and the car that he bought. No, we're getting ready to do a scene, right? Mm-hmm. And I got to, do my lines and get ready and everything else because I'm going to look like a schmuck, right?
Yeah.
And so I moved away from him and sat down and did my work or whatever. And of course, I had to look uncomfortable. And he just sat there like he was talking to me about, buying a new car. Maybe I would do the same thing. I don't know. Those people are miserable, by the way. Those stars of those shows are miserable.
Why?
Because they don't do anything. They don't have to act. They don't cry. They don't... What drives me nuts is I would hug every character actor after the scene because I've seen women and men break down, snot coming out of their noses. I couldn't believe the acting I was seeing, right? Uh-huh. And then they go, cut, and, Chris Maloney went, okay, all right, I'll see you later. Hey, Joyce, did you get my call? And you're going, Jesus, didn't you just see what this person did in front of you for $1,200? You schmuck.
When's your cold case on?
March 7th.
March 7th.
Now, don't you put anything I said here in your blog.
No, I didn't remember anything.
Thank you. Adam Buckman, .wordpress.com.
Word.
You're awfully nice. Thank you.
Thank you. And
wordtoyourpress.com.
Now, you going to work for another newspaper, or are they all dying?
Well, I think they're dying. I probably need to find a job with some other medium, like satellite radio.
Sure. There's big money here, I can tell you that.
You know what are great? Those new Dells.
Or television. Television, with all the whining people in TV do, TV is where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Internet. Everybody whines about the Internet, but TV, at least in some parts of TV is where it's all happening, and it's what everybody watches. And that's where I want to be.
Except young kids.
Excuse me?
Well, I absolutely agree with you. And somebody once said to me, hey, why don't you have a podcast like Adam Carolla? Remember Adam Carolla took over for Howard in L.A. and then lasted a year and got canned. And I think they're paying him $6 million.
To not be on the air?
Just saying, he had a long contract. Oh. And he's got a podcast. And I actually have had people say to me, well, you ought to... I go... Well, who makes money doing that?
Well, everybody always says stuff like that. Everybody who doesn't need to have that stuff is always telling you to have a blog and a podcast.
Yeah, I tried to sell T-shirts on my website.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. We made $112 last year. And it was mostly me buying shirts for people and giving them away as gifts.
And autograph.
That's right. The Internet is that's what the Internet is.
That's exactly right. And the other one is people want me to do shows on the Internet all the time, like a movie that runs on the Internet.
Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine that's talking to me about doing something, some 3-minute movies or something like that. And Rodney, you're a big fan of the Internet, but I think we'll all be dead, Rodney, before real money hits the Internet.
And no offense to your friend, but I bet your friend comes across as real excited.
Yes.
Yeah, they're always really excited about, I have an exciting new thing. It's going to be an Internet comedy.
Listen, before we go, you've got to go on Hitler Responds.
HitlerResponds.com?
Just Google Hitler Responds.
Okay.
And they've taken a scene. What is the movie they took the scene from? It's the one about Hitler in the bunker.
I just read about this the other day. The Wall Street Journal had a big story about it.
The actors are fabulous, and the guy that plays Hitler is a German, and he's the greatest Hitler ever in the history
Second
of the
greatest.
movies. Who was the first greatest?
Oh, Hitler. Of course.
Hitler was the best, yeah. But, so go to Hitler Responds.
The best ones are Michael Jackson dying when Hitler finds that, when Hitler finds out about the iPad. The
one where the one about the Cubs is pretty funny too.
This is a valuable tip for me. This is news I can use.
Yeah, Hitler Responds, and they use the same scene from the movie, I think, The Bunker. I don't know what it is, but this actor...
It was a German movie, I think.
This actor is so spectacular as Hitler, as he's breaking down at the end of the war. AdamBuckman.wordpress.com. Read the blog. Adam, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
It's great to talk to you again, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you. Rodney Lee Conover is here, and, of course, I am your main host. Right. We have been running
a guy that comes on about World of Warcraft named Francis Garrett, right? I got sent a message here from Next Man that it's fake. And he's if it's fake, he's a terrific actor. And if you want to hear his real voice, Jay, go to How to Become Famous on YouTube. Did you go to this, Garrett, and look it up to see if it's him?
It is him. I didn't watch. I only clicked it to see it was him, and I didn't watch anything.
So he pretends to be this. Well, he can't pretend. He's a big fat slob, and he is upset at World of Warcraft. And do they show him on How to Become Famous on YouTube, just talking normally?
Yeah, it's a video on YouTube titled How to Become Famous on YouTube, and it's by him, and it's him explaining.
Oh, you need to get him on, because here's the weird thing. And Rodney, we were just talking to this guy, Adam Buckman. You think he's nuts for saying that the internet,
well, he
can't make money.
Garrett, what's the deal on him over the last 5 years? He says the internet's no good.
No, but he can't make money.
Deal?
That's what he meant. He doesn't know how to make money at it.
Oh, well,
he's done everything on the internet. He's tried everything. He can't figure, and neither can I. I have no idea how I make.
You make money off It's a Mess Down There T-shirts.
No, I don't. I don't sell any of them. And if I had a podcast or whatever.
I was told many. It's a Mess Down There T-shirts they're flying off the shelves. They couldn't even.
Yeah, well, we say that, but that's not true. That's not true.
How about It's a Mess Down There mugs?
That's why you don't get a percentage of those.
Oh, is that why?
That's why.
I see.
Well, what hasn't happened yet? I mean, here's the problem. Everything is given away for free on the internet. If you had to
It's advertising based. Everything's given away for free on television as well, Jay. It's advertising based. You don't pay to watch a television show unless you get cable. Television is free unless you pay for additional cable.
But the advertisers are giving the networks billions of dollars that they pay the producers.
Yeah, no doubt TV is still more successful than the internet. No doubt, Jay.
No, I think one day the internet will be great, but you will not live to see it. You will not live to see the day that you can make money on the internet like you can make as an actor, writer, whatever, on television or the movies.
Just the fact that I don't know the exact age cutoff, but there's a certain age, and I want to say it's 13 or 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, it might even be older than that. Let's say it's 16. Kids 16 and younger spend way more time on the internet than they do on television. From that stat alone tells you 5 years from now there'll be more money made on the internet than on television. Just
not
from that
us.
Stat alone.
We're out of the demographic, not for us.
No, but I'll be creating those shows for these kids.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really. I'm not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's wishful thinking. I think that my son...
You're right, it's wishful thinking. And
my son who's 16...
I'm going to make it come true.
My son who's 16 in 5 years...
You can't take an individual person and make it...
No, 16-year-old kids will make money on the internet faster than anybody in their 40s or 50s.
I'll be controlling it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what's great about you is your completely unabashed optimism. There's no doubt you're optimistic.
Right.
And that's what keeps you alive.
I
am much more of a cynic.
Oxygen and the stuff hooked up to the vein on my left arm keeps me alive.
I understand.
The optimism is just part of me.
But I think that we are... That the industry is...
Hey, look, I'm a kid with a dream, Jay.
Yes,
you're trying to piss on it.
20 or 30 years away from people making money in the internet.
No way. 20 or 30 years? Are you crazy?
No, like when actors would get a job on an internet
20 or 30 years, Jay? There won't even be an internet or television.
God, that'll be a great day. You know what?
You know where I'm going to go to first?
What? Who?
Cuttingroom.com. I'm going to love that show.
No, I think you can do
Garrett
something on the
internet. Garrett and I will sit in the old folks' home holding hands watching it.
You know who I feel sorry for right now?
Every once in a while, Christina will come in with a cool drink.
I'll tell you who I feel sorry
Garrett,
for.
Rodney, what's on today?
The guy that was on that beer commercial that said, I love you, man. Remember that guy? Okay.
Do I remember that guy? You know the story about me and that guy.
I don't.
Oh, shit. It came
actor?
It came down to 3 people for that campaign. Me, that guy, and some other schmuck. And obviously that guy got it. But you know me for more than 20 years. I've been saying that my whole life. Hey, man, I love you, man. I've been saying it all that. And that's how I did my audition. They took my audition, but picked that other fuck.
They stole your idea.
Have you ever been on an audition and then you've seen the commercial and it was like, whoa, that was my audition, but they didn't pick me?
No, I've only heard you tell me that story.
But that's never happened to you in all your years of auditioning?
I have said really funny stuff, and at the end of the audition...
So you've never had a unique enough audition that somebody stole?
No.
Wow.
Never. And I've actually gone out of my way to watch the shows or the commercial to see if they stole...
No, you don't. You don't even... You don't buy the products and you won't watch the ads. That's your
if I know
rule.
Doing it, but no.
That's your rule.
But this guy was signed by any number of managers and agents and all that.
Right.
And they made the movie, I Love You, Man.
Uh-huh.
They didn't even give him, like, a little cameo in it. Okay?
His manager would not stop calling me for a little tiny movie like Bachelor Man. Would not stop calling me trying to get this guy cast in anything but a commercial. Anything but a commercial.
You know who else is begging for parts? The guy with the
Verizon
glasses.
guy. Yeah.
The Verizon guy.
Same thing. When we were casting Bachelor Man, his guys were all over me. They wouldn't leave me alone.
Poor bastard. Poor bastard.
Poor millionaire bastard.
Well, they are rich from the commercials.
How about that woman on the Progressive?
Yeah, the girl from Progressive.
I'm ahead of you,
we talked about her yesterday.
Oh, you did?
They have actually put out a rumor that she worked for the insurance company. And some guy called
bullshit.
up and it is bullshit. We found it later. It was total bullshit. That girl will not work again either.
You don't think so?
No.
I think she's talented enough to do it, to break through something.
She could do like stuff on Broadway, singing and dancing, and it would play there.
I think she'll be an exception. Maybe you're right, though. But the Verizon guy, forget it.
Oh, he aggravates me.
Forget it.
Does he say anything in those commercials?
No, and you want to know why?
Why?
Because they asked for too much. Because they asked for too much money for him to come back and keep it up, and they said no, we're not going to do it. And so the compromise was he'll be there, but he won't talk.
Wait a second. He wanted a lot of money to talk?
He used to talk. And in the beginning of that campaign, he would say, "Can you hear me now?" all the time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he don't say it anymore.
I didn't realize that.
Little inside Hollywood for you.
How about the cavemen who are useless?
Those guys are great.
Yeah, but they didn't use them in the TV show.
How stupid was that?
And the TV show was just about ugly, hairy guys. Instead of they weren't.
Yeah, it was
cavemen.
It was a total race metaphor. Instead of doing like the funny commercials do.
Well, what they should have done is have them smelled the girl's ass and everything. Like
they should have went all the way, club them over the head and drag them by the hair.
All of it.
Yeah, that would have been great.
And when they were on their period, they would have gone like that.
Yeah, and
that's what cavemen did.
Yeah,
all right, Christina.
And then when they go over for a date, they pee on their couch and everything.
Yes,
you're fucking great.
They'd have started a fire in their apartment.
Yeah.
All of it.
And they see the swimming pool, they think it's the water hole, so they guard. They guard it.
The show isn't over yet, even though it sounds like it.
You make me smile like the sun.
James Lipton tried to get Robert De Niro to say, "You talking to me?" And De Niro wouldn't do it. He asked him like 4 times. He goes, "Look, I'm not going to do it. I just don't do that." It was really fucking embarrassing.
Christina was telling me. Of course, that's
very similar
Auto Cracker and song written that he wrote with my son JT and his buddy Blair. So thank you for playing that, Garrett. And cool. So you actually spoke on the phone, Christina, to the Verizon guy with the glasses?
Yeah, Verizon Wireless was the sponsor for something that I was planning before I was in radio, and to impress me, I guess, the representative put him on the phone, and he did the whole, like, "Can you hear me now?" thing, and it was really
Forget about
cheesy.
that. Tell us about the Coke can.
Seriously? Okay, so I used to work on AlQ here, and I used to have to watch a lot of porn.
I didn't mean it, Christina.
Oh, okay.
You worked on AlQ, you watched a lot of porn,
Stop.
yes?
No.
I would tell it, but I don't want to upset Rusty.
Why did they make you watch porn at AlQ?
Well, they didn't make me watch porn, but if you wanted to be part of the conversation, you had to stay up on your stuff. Same thing that I do here.
So the guys and gals at AlQ, they just watch porn
Not
all day?
Not all of them. I used to work on a night show that's no longer there, where it was more acceptable to see
what
this
did the
stuff.
German woman do with the Coke can?
She put it up her ass, and then she shit it back out.
Well, you know, Jay.
And she walked
What?
around the room with it in it.
What,
And
Rodney?
there's, like,
What,
in there.
Rodney?
Coca-Cola's not the greatest soda, but it's right up there.
I think we'll end on that note. Tomorrow morning,
See, right?
Howard 101, the Jay Thomas Show. We'll be back. See you later.